Chapter 118. Although Ning Cheng had defeated Meng Yujing, many of the cultivators on the public square did not have any intuitive feeling about it. At most, they felt that this dark horse was still a dark horse. The people from the Falling Star Academy were extremely shocked. Meng Yujing was not even half a point worse than Qi Ziwen in the Falling Star Academy. For them, since Ning Xiaocheng could easily defeat Meng Yujing, then it meant that Qi Ziwen was 90% not an opponent for Ning Xiaocheng. Meng Yujing's sword line wave pattern was definitely an amazing sword skill. It was even more advanced than his 36 profound ice spear technique. It was just that Meng Yujing was the same as him, unable to fully display that kind of sword pattern wave, which gave him the leeway to counterattack. Although Ning Cheng was only at true condensation 3rd level, but the depth of his true essence was not even half a point worse than Meng Yujing's. Moreover, his meridians were very wide, so the true essence that he could blast out in an instant was a lot more powerful than Meng Yujing's. Meng Yujing's sword trace wave immediately began to disperse, as if it was about to dissipate. Meng Yujing had already brought out her blue flying sword, causing a blue wave-like sword line to appear, and in a twinkling of an eye, wrapped around Ning Cheng. Just as Lian Hao was about to step onto the stage to challenge Ning Cheng, Meng Yujing immediately flew onto the stage. Ji Luofei, who was watching the fight from a distance, saw that Ning Cheng had already disappeared under Meng Yujing's blue-colored wave, and could not even see his shadow. She immediately nervously took a few steps forward. After Meng Jingxiu lost, her mood was very low. Although she did not like Ning Cheng, but seeing Ji Luofei walk forward, she quickly pulled Ji Luofei back and said, "You do not want to live anymore. As long as you cross the yellow line in front of you, that old man will immediately start. Did you not see the fate of the Shui clan's essence-building elder?" Ning Cheng did not move. His spiritual sense fell onto Meng Yujing's cyan-colored mirror. He felt that this cyan mirror was somewhat strange. Ming Hao Kuo of the Clear Sky Academy was also staring at Ning Cheng with a fiery hot gaze. This was originally a disciple of their Clear Sky Academy, but unfortunately he was sent to the God Wind Academy by the rice bucket of the academy. At this time he could not wait to save the Qi-gathering cultivator who had already turned into ashes, and then turn him into ashes again. He had completely forgotten that when Ning Cheng had obtained 11 points in the first and second round, he had rejoiced in his heart, and even ridiculed the God Wind Academy. At this moment, Ning Cheng's true essence was completely stimulated, as 8 spear shadows once again shot out. These 8 spear shadows did not have the same kind of icy coldness as before, and had turned into pure spear shadows. Meng Yujing was sent flying by this terrifying force, just like a meteor crashing into the restrictions of the square platform. He spat out several mouthfuls of blood on the spot and slid to the ground, panting heavily. Ning Cheng felt a chill run down his spine, but when he recovered, he found that Meng Yujing's blue-colored sword line wave had already arrived in front of him. If one were to be blasted by this sword pattern wave, even if they didn't die, they would be severely injured. The 36 profound ice spear technique was a group-killing spear technique. It was not suitable for a one-on-one fight, nor was it suitable to display the true spear intent. Ning Cheng had comprehended a new kind of spear technique from Gu Ye's sword technique and Meng Yujing's sword technique from before. He was sure that this spear technique would allow him to display his spear intent to the extreme. But Ning Cheng was very clear that he was able to comprehend the killing intent of this spear. In addition to watching the battles of the few people in front of him, the 36 profound ice spear technique certainly played an indispensable role. Ning Cheng could once again stimulate the 8 spear shadows, and superimpose them on the other side. But Ning Cheng was like a sluggish person. He unexpectedly saw Tian Mu Wan in the blue mirror. He saw the scene of Tian Mu Wan's heartless death, and burst after burst of heartache. This was her most treasured magical weapon, but it was unexpectedly broken by Ning Cheng's spear. It was difficult for her to not feel distressed. Ji Luofei quivered, and quickly took a few steps back. These new sword line wave patterns not only pushed the sword line wave patterns that were about to collapse, but the momentum was also more than doubled. Meng Yujing, this kind of woman, was extremely pleasing to the eye. So when she came on stage, she immediately attracted a lot of applause and support. Ning Qing did not chase after Meng Yujing to kill her, he just stood there with his eyes closed and did not move. That spear technique was becoming more and more clear in his mind, it made him ecstatic, this was the real killing intent and spear intent of that spear technique. Compared to this spear technique, he felt that the previous 36 profound ice spear technique was too weak. Ning Qing opened his hand, and the spear on his back fell into his palm, he casually waved it, and the cloth covering the spear burst open, at the same time, the spear in his hand turned into countless ice-cold spear shadows. Ka! An explosive sound burst out, Ning Cheng's spear exploded on the blue illusion mirror, directly creating a cobweb-like mark in the middle of the blue illusion mirror. Huh! Unexpectedly there was a lover, the third round of the tournament had already progressed to this point, and on the huge array formation display, there were only 7 people left. The first place was still Situ Yu with 60 points, the second was Fang Xian with 50 points, the third was Lian Hao with 40 points, the fourth was Ning Xiaocheng and Qi Ziwen with 30 points, Ling Naixin and Meng Yujing who had not fought on stage, both had 20 points. Meng Yujing's face immediately turned red, she did not think that Ning Qing did not have any demeanor, she even thought that Ning Qing deliberately said those words. It was definitely because Ning Qing had followed her last time, and saw her and Chu Ping together. During the fight, Ning Qing felt the shortcomings of the 36 profound ice spear technique, his ice spiritual root was not outstanding, moreover his true essence was also relatively limited. The might of this profound ice spear technique was not very strong, it would be better to remove the ice cold. Ning Qing put away the broken spear, and once again closed his eyes, as the broken spear once again shot towards the center of the sword line wave. The spear net and Meng Yujing's cyan sword line wave formation collided for the second time, causing continuous ka-ka sounds to ring out. Ning Qing did not continue to supplement the power of the spear lights, he believed that if he brought out another 8 spear lights at this time, then Meng Yujing would definitely lose without a doubt. Ning Qing did not have even half a shred of goodwill towards this Meng Yujing. When he heard Meng Yujing's words, he immediately sneered and spoke, "Since you are afraid, then why don't you just hide at home and hold your child, why did you still come up to challenge me?" The blue mirror was Meng Yujing's magical weapon, as such she could clearly see the scene that Ning Qing saw in the blue illusion mirror. These scenes were so strange that she had never seen them before. Hey, at such a young age, he has actually comprehended spear intent to such a degree. Is this person's spirit root really that bad? The dignified man sitting on the main altar muttered to himself. In Ning Cheng's first match, he had already revealed the surface of his axe intent. Who would have thought that he would also be involved in spear intent? However, no matter what happened to Ning Cheng in her green illusion mirror, she had to capture the other party first. Whether he wanted to kill Ning Cheng or not, it all depended on how he answered. Meng Yujing no longer spoke any nonsense, as she raised both her hands, a cyan-colored flying sword immediately appeared in her palms. At the same time that she brought out the flying sword in her hands, a cyan-colored round mirror also appeared suspended behind her. The spear intent grew stronger and stronger. Meng Yujing's complexion turned pale as she constantly retreated. She desperately stimulated her true essence to move the green illusion mirror in front of her. She did not know if her green illusion mirror could block Ning Cheng's spear. I admit defeat. Meng Yujing stood up with difficulty, as she wiped the blood from the corners of her mouth, and placed the green illusion mirror into her storage bag in a distressed manner. Although she did not know the reason, she understood that Ning Cheng had spared her life, otherwise, she would have died without a doubt. At the same time, Ning Qing came to another conclusion, that was that the 36 profound ice spear technique was not suitable for him to completely break out the spear intent that he had comprehended. Just what was the origin of this Ning Xiaocheng? How could it be so terrifying? Meng Yujing and Ning Cheng's battle were completely defeated. The mysterious yellow bead in Ning Cheng's Zifu once again exuded the mysterious yellow origin aura. This aura had not yet fully formed his sea of consciousness, and immediately disappeared into the meridians of Ning Cheng's entire body. Having lost 2 core disciples, the God Wind Academy was already extremely depressed, but because of Ning Cheng's victory, it once again gave rise to hope. Lu Xian eagerly stared at Ning Cheng, who had just returned. If the God Wind Academy could obtain a good ranking, then even if they had lost 2 core disciples, they could still find some comfort. Ning Cheng had defeated Meng Yujing with an unstoppable and domineering manner, allowing him to see hope again. Meng Yujing did not think that Ning Cheng would be able to take down Ning Cheng with just the first sword line, so when Ning Cheng's spear light and her first wave of sword net collided, she gave a cold snort, and the sword line wave that was about to dissipate was immediately stirred up by the wind, and once again surged out with innumerable new waves of sword lines. Meng Yujing did not think that Ning Cheng would suddenly sober up. She was just about to stimulate the blue mirror, when she felt the killing intent of the entire platform being swept away by Ning Cheng's long spear. The next moment a spear's shadow condensed with an inexhaustible killing intent rumbled towards her. Without the icy cold, these 8 spear shadows almost at the same time as they shot out, formed into a spear net. Meng Yujing's stunning appearance immediately attracted the attention of everyone. There were not many female cultivators participating in the 3rd round of the tournament. Although the God Wind Academy's Meng Jingxiu's appearance was not bad, but compared to Meng Yujing, the difference between Meng Jingxiu's beauty was simply too big. These countless spear shadows in just a twinkling of an eye formed a spear net. His 36 profound ice spears could already form 24 spear shadows. But Ning Cheng did not use his full strength in this spear net, he only brought out 8 spear shadows. Yujing took the liberty to challenge you. I ask Brother Ning to show mercy. Meng Yujing was extremely self-restrained, and spoke in a soft and gentle voice, making people who heard her feel pity in their hearts, and even reluctant to use heavy hands. Ning Cheng sneered. He did not know why Meng Yujing wanted to challenge him, but he was absolutely not afraid of this woman. As soon as Meng Yujing issued the challenge declaration, Ning Cheng immediately flew up and landed on the platform. Lian Hao stared at Ning Cheng, as the corners of his mouth revealed a trace of a grin. He wanted to kill these few people from the God Wind Academy one by one. If Meng Jingxiu lost in the 1st round, then it would have been her luck. If Meng Jingxiu did not lose, then the next one to die would have been her. Meng Yujing had a faint smile on her face, which made her look even more beautiful. She cupped her fists towards all the people present, and then spoke in a crisp voice. Falling Star Academy's Meng Yujing with 20 points, challenges the God Wind Academy's Ning Xiaocheng. The incomparably icy cold spear shadows, in just a breath of time, formed into an icy spear net. This icy spear net and Meng Yujing's blue-colored sword line wave collided together, giving out bursts of true essence explosions. Let's see what else you have. After Meng Yujing released the 2nd wave of sword line wave, she still did not stop. The blue-colored mirror that was originally suspended behind her, at this moment, also suspended itself above the 2 people. At the same time, the blue-colored round mirror shot out countless blue-colored lights. These lights fell on top of Ning Cheng's ice spear shadows, causing the ice spear shadows to directly collapse. This terrifying and formidable killing intent made Meng Yujing unable to resist even the slightest bit, and was immediately scared out of her wits. If this spear had hit her body, then it was estimated that her entire body would have exploded. Chapter 119. The Rakshasa seal had already covered a radius of more than 10 feet, completely locking the space around Fang Xian. Boom, ka. The Rakshasa seal and Fang Xian's ordinary ice swords collided and exploded. This was simply an impossible thing, but when Lu Xian thought about how easily Ning Cheng had defeated Meng Yujing, he immediately felt that it was not an impossible thing. Lian Hao's aura was extremely heavy. After Fang Xian finished speaking, he directly brought out his Rakshasa seal. Chu Yong Xian and Gu Hong were not able to make Lian Hao display his full strength. Although Lian Hao looked down on Fang Xian, but he knew that Fang Xian was far from being comparable to Chu Yong Xian. So he immediately used his full strength. At least on the surface it looked like he was using his full strength. Ning Cheng simply said, Deacon Lu, I think that the strength of our God Wind Academy is limited, moreover we do not have a profound core cultivator to oversee it. Once we obtain the quota for a 6-star academy, we would immediately become the target of public criticism. I think that the powerhouses of the intermediate class continents would come to help our God Wind Academy establish a 6-star academy. It would definitely be after the Angry Axe Valley opens. During this period of time, what would happen in the Hua continent, who can say for sure? After the fight between Ning Cheng and Meng Yujing, there were only 6 people left with points. He had tried to be optimistic about the outcome of the tournament, but he did not expect that Ning Cheng would unexpectedly give such an answer. This answer was not just optimistic about the outcome of the tournament, but it was completely beyond his imagination. Lost so quickly? Ning Cheng asked in a puzzled manner. He and Lu Xian were just talking, and did not pay attention to the situation on the stage. Lu Xian opened his mouth to speak. Of course it would be best for them to advance to a 6-star academy. But as the words were about to come out of his mouth, he swallowed them back down. Ning Cheng's words definitely had a reason. He subconsciously asked, Ning Cheng, can you help my God-Wind Academy to get the first place? Let the God-Wind Academy advance to a 6-star academy. Ning Cheng hesitated for a moment, and then spoke with certainty. This time, other than that Ling Naixin, I have already seen the rest of the participants. If Deacon Lu really wants to get the first place, and let the God-Wind Academy advance to a 6-star academy, then I think I can help Deacon Lu achieve this. Ning Cheng did not think that Lian Hao would end up fighting with Fang Xian. When he saw Lian Hao step onto the stage, he immediately knew that Lian Hao wanted to challenge him. He just didn't know why the seemingly calm Fang Xian would want to get involved in this mess. In Ning Cheng's view, Fang Xian and Lian Hao's cultivation was indeed similar, but Ning Cheng believed that Fang Xian was not a match for Lian Hao. This was not a problem of cultivation, but rather that Lian Hao was several times more cunning than Fang Xian. In a contest between 2 evenly matched opponents, the cunning one would definitely have the upper hand. Fang Xian had seen Lian Hao fight before. He was different from Chu Yong Xian. His true essence cultivation was no worse than Lian Hao's. At the same time that Lian Hao used all his strength to bring out the Rakshasa seal, his ice sword also stabbed out. Ning Cheng did not know if Fang Xian still had a trump card, but he knew that Lian Hao still had a black triangular streamer that he had not taken out. Ning Cheng spoke in a deep voice, Deacon Lu, I feel that this promotion to a 6-star academy is not as simple as it seems. Of course, if I can think of it, I'm sure you can as well. Since Ning Cheng defeated Meng Yujing, she knew that she had overestimated herself, and underestimated Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's cultivation should be higher than hers. Lu Xian wholeheartedly wanted to help the God-Wind Academy rise. Moreover, the intermediate class continents had also promised that they would send people to help the first place of the 5-star tournament to establish a 6-star academy. Because the Angry Axe Valley suddenly opened, the people sent by the intermediate class continents had not yet been chosen. Even if they wanted to choose, it would be a matter after the Angry Axe Valley closed. Lian Hao's eyes flashed with a trace of annoyance. He was a bit slow. If he was a bit faster, or if he was a bit closer to Fang Xian, then he would definitely be able to kill Fang Xian before Fang Xian admitted defeat. Unfortunately, since Fang Xian had already admitted defeat, he could no longer make a move. After Situyu beheaded the Thunder Academy's Gu Yi, he had accumulated 60 points, and until now he had been ranked first. However, he did not continue to challenge others, and no one came out to challenge him. Ning Cheng had just come down from the platform, when Lian Hao from the Thunder Academy once again flew up to the platform. The rest of the people did not even need to think about it. They knew that Lian Hao wanted to challenge Ning Cheng, who had just come down. For him to put forward this suggestion, it was not because of his selfish thoughts. However, Ning Cheng believed that his inference was absolutely not wrong. With an empty 6-star academy here, if something happened in the future, who would know who did it? Lian Hao's mouth showed a trace of a grin. Since you want to die early and reincarnate early, then I will help you. Originally this father wanted to kill that trash Ning Shaoqing first, but I did not think that you would want to die. Someone like you, who can't even kill a woman, there really is no need for you to live. Whether or not the God-Wind Academy could become a 6-star academy, Ning Cheng did not care about it at all, but if Ji Luofei lost even a single hair, then he would not be willing. Thank you, I unexpectedly thought of it. No wonder you can have this kind of achievement in the true condensation 3rd level. After Lu Xian thanked Ning Cheng, he spoke with some emotion. Lu Xian thought that he could not see clearly. Lu Xian vaguely understood the meaning behind Ning Cheng's words, but he still asked, Ning Cheng, what do you mean? Ning Cheng certainly did not think much more than Lu Xian. He knew that once he entered the Angry Axe Valley, then Ji Luofei would have to stay in the God Wind Academy. He absolutely could not let Ji Luofei be in the eye of the storm. As if they could feel the strength of the other side, both sides did not hold back anymore. Fang Xian and Lian Hao once again fought against each other. The true essence exploded out. The entire battle platform was filled with crackling sounds. From the start of the third round until now, this was a truly evenly matched battle. At this time on the entire battle platform, it was either the Rakshasa Great Seal that was wrapped around Fang Xian, or the vague sword shadow that was splitting the Great Seal. No matter which side had the upper hand, in just a moment, the other side would be able to counterattack. At this time, he completely understood Ning Cheng's meaning. What would happen in the middle of this? If the God Wind Academy was destroyed by someone using various excuses, would the intermediate class continents even get angry and help the God Wind Academy take revenge? At most, they would choose another academy to become a 6-star academy. Boom boom. Several violent explosions rang out, causing Ning Cheng and Lu Xian to once again focus their attention on the battle platform. On the battle platform, Fang Xian had already fallen to the edge of the platform. Blood was spilling out from the corners of his mouth. The true essence in his body was dissipating. It was obvious that he had lost and could not lose again. Lian Hao's triangular eyes swept over the few people who still had points. When his eyes swept over Fang Xian, his eyes immediately showed a trace of disdain. For Fang Xian, sooner or later he would have to fight against Lian Hao. Since the other side was so disdainful, then he might as well fight now. He also wanted to let Lian Hao know that he, Fang Xian, was not the same as Gu Hong or Chu Yong Xian from the God Wind Academy. Thinking until here, Lu Xian forced himself to calm down, and asked in a serious tone, Ning Cheng, you are now a core disciple of my God Wind Academy, what do you think? After Lian Hao's Rakshasa seal and Fang Xian's ice sword artifact were in a deadlock, Lian Hao pretended to be unable to use his true essence and retreated. Fang Xian suddenly stimulated his true essence, and wanted to use the ice sword to break the Rakshasa seal, but he did not expect that Lian Hao's hidden triangular streamer would suddenly roll out, causing Fang Xian's ice sword shadow to suddenly dissipate. Fang Xian, in order to break free from the triangular streamer, forcibly blew up his ice sword artifact, and was seriously injured by Lian Hao. Meng Jingxiu took the initiative to explain from the side. Lu Xian was excited, but then he immediately thought about the meaning behind Ning Cheng's question. He was a core disciple of the God Wind Academy. Since he could help the God Wind Academy to advance to a 6-star academy, then of course he would go all out. Why would he need to ask for his opinion? Not waiting for Lian Hao to speak, he immediately flew up to the battle platform and said, Luohua Academy's Fang Xian has brought 50 points to meet with you. Let's see if your hands are as sharp as your triangular eyes. I admit defeat. Fang Xian spat out these 3 words with incomparable difficulty, as he looked extremely dispirited. Ning Cheng estimated that the outcome of this fight would not be decided in a short time, so he turned around and spoke to Lu Xian, Deacon Lu, do you want to get a good ranking, or do you want the God Wind Academy to be promoted to a 6-star academy? It was still an ordinary sword strike, but after this sword strike came out, the surrounding area that was controlled by Lian Hao seemed to blur. This kind of blur was as if it was driven by Fang Xian's vague sword shadow. In the first confrontation, the two people unexpectedly were evenly matched. Could the God Wind Academy get the first place, and finally advance to a 6-star academy? When Lu Xian heard Ning Cheng's words, he suddenly stared at Ning Cheng, and only after a long time did he speak up in a trembling voice, Ning Cheng, can you really let the God Wind Academy get the first place? Ning Cheng's original meaning was that the first and second round of the tournament were targeted towards the academy, and the third round of the tournament was also not purely to select a 6-star academy to cultivate. Since Lu Xian said so, he did not refute it, and just explained in a sentence, this time when the Angry Axe Valley opens, I think that the seniors from the intermediate class continents will certainly not continue to stay in the Hua continent. I guess that they will choose a 6-star academy, and then let the 6-star academies establish themselves. or they will take the 20 disciples who entered the Angry Axe Valley and leave first. Lian Hao and Fang Xian were simultaneously blown away. The ice sword shadow that was brought along by the vague sword shadow dissipated into thin air. The Luo Sha seal also shrank and fell into Lian Hao's hands. At this point in the third round of the tournament, it was already mixed with too many personal grievances. It was not until this time that Fang Xian understood why Lian Hao sneered at him. It turned out that this guy was ridiculing him for not being able to kill Meng Jingxiu. In fact, Fang Xian still did not understand the meaning of Lian Hao's words. Lian Hao said that because Fang Xian defeated Meng Jingxiu, he did not have the opportunity to kill Meng Jingxiu. Fang Xian immediately became angry. He knew that Lian Hao wanted to challenge that Ning Shaoqing, but when he saw Lian Hao's disdainful eyes, he was very unhappy in his heart. Lian Hao was a bit far from Fang Xian, but he still brought out the Luo Sha seal, and wanted to completely kill Fang Xian. After Ning Qing defeated Meng Yujing, his points also reached 50 points. At this time, no one thought that Ning Cheng was just a fluke or a dark horse. In these two fights, Ning Cheng had already proved that he was strong. Lu Xian at this time understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, as he nodded and said, "Ning Cheng, what you said is right, in fact, we really did think of it. The reason why the other side wants us to form a 6-star academy in the lower class continents, is because they want to unify the entire lower class continents academies, as well as the countless rogue cultivators, and have an absolute say. This say, in the end, still has to serve the other side. But no matter which one becomes a 6-star academy, it would only serve the other side. As such, it would be better to grasp this power in our own hands, at least we would be able to obtain more benefits than others." Chapter 120. With Fang Xian defeated, all the people knew that the second-ranked Luohua Academy was finished. With Lian Hao being so powerful, the rest of the 5-star academies also began to discuss. The Falling Star Academy was the most worried. Now the Falling Star Academy only had a single Qi Ziwen, moreover Qi Ziwen clearly showed that he was not Ning Cheng's opponent. It could be seen that Qi Ziwen was also very dangerous to Lian Hao. Situ Yu of the Clear Sky Academy looked at Lian Hao and frowned. He also thought that Lian Hao was a formidable opponent. The one who felt the least pressure was Ling Naixin of the Thunder Academy. She had not even fought a single match, and had accumulated 20 points. Lian Hao was from the Thunder Academy, so she did not need any pressure. The people in the square were talking about how Lian Hao would be the champion of the 5-star academies. Lian Hao's skill was really too amazing. Lu Xian also frowned. He stared at Lian Hao for a while and said, "Ning Cheng, let's not touch this person for the time being, he looks a bit strange." Ning Cheng smiled and said, "Deacon Lu, even if I don't touch him, he will take the initiative to challenge me." Saying that, Ning Cheng once again flew up, and landed on the platform. God Wind Academy's Ning Shaoqing challenges Lian Hao with 50 points. Lian Hao had just defeated Fang Xian, and was feeling proud of himself on the platform, but he did not think that at this time someone would dare to challenge him. Ning Cheng flew up to the platform. The people in the square were also in an uproar. Their emotions were very excited. At this time, no one dared to underestimate Ning Cheng. Everyone knew that Ning Cheng and Lian Hao would fight. In the end, who was stronger? Would it be the incomparably powerful Lian Hao, or the dark horse Ning Cheng? When Ning Cheng came up to the platform, the Falling Star Academy and the Clear Sky Academy were relieved. These two people were not people they wanted to meet. Now that these two people came up to the platform, it was for the best. Fang Xian, who came down from the platform, looked at Ning Cheng who came up to the platform, and secretly sighed, but did not speak. No one knew better than him how terrifying Lian Hao was, but it did not make any sense. If he did not experience it himself, he would not understand what he was talking about. "Kid, I had planned to kill you in a while, but I did not think that it would be too late for you. Since you actually want to court death, then this father will help you out first." Lian Hao, on seeing Ning Cheng on the stage, gave a sneer, as his entire body overflowed with killing intent. The Rakshasa seal had already been brought out. The person he wanted to kill the most was Ning Cheng. At this time Ning Cheng was standing right in front of him. How could Lian Hao tolerate even half a moment of it? For the first time, the Rakshasa seal expanded to a size of nearly 20 feet. Under the stimulation of the large seal, the surrounding air vibrated with bursts of murderous aura. So powerful. The onlookers were secretly amazed. The power of Lian Hao's Rakshasa seal this time seemed to be even stronger than when he was fighting with Fang Xian. The long spear in Ning Cheng's hands shot out. This time 24 spear shadows shot out at once, forming a huge spear net. The profound ice chi of the 36 profound ice spears had already been removed by Ning Cheng. As such, the pure 24 spear shadows formed into a spear net was incomparably swift and fierce. The invisible spear net and the huge Rakshasa seal instantly collided with each other. This kind of violent impact, the spectating cultivators on the public square could even feel the ground tremble slightly. Meng Yujing's mouth exuded a trace of bitterness. She finally understood that Ning Cheng had only used 16 spear shadows in his fight with her. He simply did not use his full strength. Boom boom boom. True essence overflowed. The Rakshasa seal and Ning Cheng's broken spear shadows were like rolling dark clouds, shrouding the entire platform. Ning Cheng knew that if they were to compete in terms of true essence, he would absolutely not be able to kill Lian Hao. Moreover, his 36 profound ice spears, because he had removed the ice cold, had already become a spear technique without any special characteristics. But he had to remove it. His true essence was limited. Once he injected his true essence to stimulate the ice cold, it would not be worth it for him. Previously, when he was fighting against people with low cultivations, Ning Cheng could not see it, but now that he was fighting against a cultivator with a powerful true essence, he could already feel that his 36 profound ice spears were not suitable for him to use. When the spear shadows and the Rakshasa seal were tangled together, Lian Hao silently brought out his black triangular streamer. At the same time, Ning Cheng once again grabbed his spear in his hands. The spear in his hands drew a semicircle, as it swept through the middle of the spear shadows with a tearing killing intent. This was the spear that he had comprehended during his fight with Meng Yujing. Only with this spear was he able to bring out all of his spear intent. The majestic killing intent condensed into the spearhead of Ning Cheng's spear. The spearhead pierced through the surrounding air, as it rumbled towards Lian Hao's chest with a tragic whistling sound. This kind of incomparably tragic spear killing intent, even the spectators could feel it, but Lian Hao, who was in the middle of it, unexpectedly did not feel it. All the people felt that it was strange. Even Ning Cheng himself felt somewhat puzzled. Ning Cheng did not expect that this spear would be able to kill Lian Hao, but after this spear, he was sure that Lian Hao would definitely be killed by him. As such, he had already prepared his 7 Pleiades ice needle. Against a person like Lian Hao, Ning Cheng did not want to hold back even for half a moment. As long as Lian Hao blocked his spear intent that was bursting with killing intent, then his imposing manner would immediately be destroyed. The 7 Pleiades ice needle and his axe fist would be the grave of the opposite party. At this time, Lian Hao suddenly revealed a trace of a sneer. Not only did he not care about Ning Cheng's spear intent that was bursting with killing intent, but he also stimulated the black triangular streamer with all of his strength, and in the blink of an eye, the sky above the two people formed a black cloud. Ning Cheng suddenly felt that something was wrong. His Zifu was in pain, his spiritual sense was immediately blocked. At the same time, the spear intent that was bursting with killing intent also stagnated for a moment. It was as if there was a boundless black cloud pouring into his Zifu. It made his spiritual sense feel as if it had met a thick wall. This black triangular streamer turned out to be a magical weapon that could cut off his spiritual sense. As long as his spiritual sense was cut off, then his spear intent that was bursting with killing intent would become insignificant. No wonder Lian Hao was not even the least bit nervous, and even had the time to ridicule him. Ning Cheng was surprised in his heart, but at the same time, he felt that the mysterious yellow origin was about to overflow, and was trying to drive away the black cloud that was blocking his spiritual sense from wrapping around his Zifu. But not waiting for the mysterious yellow origin to overflow, the star river that was right next to the mysterious yellow beads suddenly pulsated. At this moment, the seemingly boundless black cloud in his Zifu was completely absorbed. Ning Cheng's spiritual sense once again did not stagnate. Lian Hao obviously felt that Ning Cheng's spear had stopped, as he stared at Ning Cheng sarcastically and said, "Now you know, this is my real strength. Do you know why I have to kill you? I am taking revenge for Shui Yu. Wait for me to help you take care of that woman surnamed Ji, your head will explode under my foot." Lian Hao's words had not yet finished, when he felt that something was wrong. The spear that had just stagnated a moment ago once again rumbled towards him. Not only did it rumble towards him, but the killing intent did not diminish even by half a bit, rather along with his words, the killing intent condensed even more, forming an unstoppable bone-piercing spear intent. Not good. Lian Hao immediately knew that his spiritual binding streamer did not have any effect, but at this time Ning Cheng's spear had already arrived in front of him. Lian Hao was scared out of his wits. He wanted to bring out a round shield, but it was already too late. He could only stimulate his true essence to dodge to the side. Unfortunately, he was only a cultivator at true condensation 9th level, while he was stimulating the Rakshasa seal, while simultaneously stimulating the spiritual binding streamer. His spiritual sense was not strong enough to avoid the terrifying killing intent of the spear. What's more, even if he had the ability, this kind of killing intent of the spear would not be easy to avoid. Puff! A bloody mist exploded, as half of Lian Hao's body was blasted apart by Ning Cheng's spear. At the same time, because he had mobilized his true essence to block Ning Cheng's spear, several spear shadows directly passed through his Rakshasa seal, and exploded on his other arm, directly turning his other arm into nothingness. One had to say that Lian Hao's vitality was incomparably strong. Even in this kind of situation, he still forced himself to open his mouth and admit defeat. Ning Cheng's heart to kill him was incomparably strong. How could he let Lian Hao admit defeat? The spear in his hands swept out horizontally, and directly exploded on top of Lian Hao's head. Lian Hao's huge head, just like a huge watermelon, was blasted into a bloody mist by Ning Cheng's spear. Ning Cheng raised his hand and put away Lian Hao's things into his storage bag, and then threw out a ball of fire. Immediately Lian Hao's entire body turned into ashes. After killing Lian Hao, Ning Cheng slowly breathed a sigh of relief. He knew that if Lian Hao was not too reliant on his triangular streamer, then this duel would not have been so easy. The entire square was silent. They had thought that this duel would be carried out ahead of time, and that the battle would definitely reach its climax before the winner could be decided. But they did not think that, in just the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the two people had already decided the winner and the loser. Not only was the winner and the loser decided, but it was also a matter of life and death. Ning Cheng not only blew up Lian Hao's head on the stage, but also took away Lian Hao's things, and even turned Lian Hao into ashes with a ball of fire. How could this just be called arrogant? After a good while, a burst of lively voices erupted from outside the stage, although the fight was not long, but the process was very exciting. This Ning Shaoqing once again made everyone realize how powerful he was. This was absolutely not something that could be explained with luck. Lian Hao had killed 2 experts from the God Wind Academy, and did not allow anyone to admit defeat, but this time he was finally killed by Ning Shaoqing from the God Wind Academy. Similarly, this Ning Shaoqing from the God Wind Academy also did not give Lian Hao the opportunity to admit defeat. Not only did he not allow him to admit defeat, he did not even leave behind a single bone dregs. Ling Naixin's face was incomparably pale. She had never thought that Lian Hao would lose so miserably, and so quickly. She was almost sure that Ning Shaoqing would challenge her next. Lian Hao had killed Chu Yong Xian and Gu Hong from the God Wind Academy. How could Ning Shaoqing let her go? Not only would he not let her go, but he would definitely kill her. Unless she immediately admitted defeat on the stage, but if she wanted to admit defeat, then she would have to go up on the stage to admit defeat. But the key point was, would Ning Shaoqing even give her the time to admit defeat? Lu Xian was so excited that he almost shouted out loud. Ning Cheng had defeated Lian Hao, and now had accumulated 140 points. As long as Ning Cheng was willing, he could casually challenge another one, and the God Wind Academy would definitely be the first. Then he sighed. He knew that Ning Cheng would not continue to challenge. All the eyes were focused on Ning Cheng. They all wanted to know who Ning Cheng would challenge next. Chapter 121. From the start of the third round of the tournament until now, among all the participating cultivators, Ning Cheng already had the highest number of points. Ning Cheng's score was 140 points, far surpassing Situ Yu, who was in second place with 60 points. As for Qi Ziwen, who was in third place with 30 points, and Ling Naixin, who was in last place with 20 points, were even more incomparable. The rankings of the 5 5-star academies were once again reshuffled. The Falling Star Academy was still ranked first with a total of 251 points. The God Wind Academy, which was originally in the last place, at this time was already ranked second with 216 points. Clear Sky Academy had 190 points, ranked third. Thunderclap Academy 158 points, ranked fourth. In last place was Luo Ho Academy, with a score of 155. Ning Cheng, who was standing on the battle platform, swept his gaze out. Of the 3 people who still had points, other than Situ Yu, the other 2 were extremely frightened. Che Ziwen and Ling Naixin both knew that they were not Ning Cheng's opponents. But Ning Cheng did not even need to challenge Situ Yu. As long as he defeated Qi Ziwen and Ling Naixin, then the first place would definitely belong to the God Wind Academy. Coincidentally, he had 2 slots in his hands, and he could challenge both of them. Contrary to everyone's expectations, after Ning Cheng swept his gaze around, he unexpectedly withdrew his gaze, and slowly walked down from the platform. Ling Naixin heaved a sigh. She was most afraid that Ning Cheng would challenge her next. Qi Ziwen felt even more relieved. Although he was not sure if Ning Cheng would continue to take the stage, at least he did not need to face Ning Cheng directly for now. An essence-building cultivator from the Clear Sky Academy suddenly spoke. Now, together with our Clear Sky Academy's Situ Yu, there are only 4 people with points. Che Ziwen and Ling Naixin are definitely not Situ Yu's opponents. As long as Situ Yu challenges these 2 people, we will definitely be second. Ming Haoque sneered and said, "None of us can challenge him. If nothing unexpected happens in the third round, then it will end here." That Ning Xiaocheng had no intention of fighting for the first place for the God Wind Academy, otherwise he would have already challenged Qi Ziwen and Ling Naixin. Regardless of the reason why Ning Xiaocheng gave up on fighting for the first place, we should not make a move. Unfortunately, if not for that blind bastard, Ning Xiaocheng would have been a disciple of our Clear Sky Academy. Martial Uncle Ming is right. If I defeat Qi Ziwen and Ling Naixin, I can indeed get second place. But I am sure that once I defeat these 2 people, Ning Xiaocheng would definitely challenge me next. The reason why the God Wind Academy did not continue to challenge was because they wanted to maintain their second position. I do not have even half a shred of confidence in that Ning Xiaocheng. This person is very mysterious. Once I lose to him, the Clear Sky Academy will be ranked last. Situ Yu said as he followed behind Ning Cheng. There's not much difference between second and third place. Let's stop here. If Situ Yu did not come out, then Ning Xiaocheng would definitely not come out. As for the Falling Star Academy's Qi Ziwen and the Thunder Academy's Ling Naixin, they would definitely not take the initiative to challenge them. Ming Haoque nodded, and agreed with Situ Yu's words. He had already seen Ning Cheng fight, and was not willing to let Situ Yu and Ning Cheng fight to the death for the sake of a second and third place. Ning Cheng did not continue to challenge, while the rest of the people were also not willing to come up to the stage to challenge, causing the scene to unexpectedly turn cold. With the third round of the tournament reaching this point, all the people could already see where the problem lay. As to which academy would obtain the first position, it was all in the hands of Ning Cheng. Now Ning Xiaocheng did not know for what reason, but he was not willing to help the God Wind Academy seize the first place. As such, he did not continue to challenge. If Ning Xiaocheng did not come to the stage to challenge, then no one would dare to come to the stage to challenge him. Situ Yu could have challenged him on the stage, but he was afraid of Ning Xiaocheng. What's more, even if he defeated Qi Ziwen and Ling Naixin, he would not be able to take the first place. In case the God Wind Academy took the second place, and angered that Ning Xiaocheng, it simply would not be worth it. The old man presiding over the tournament obviously saw the situation, as he flew over to the platform, and spoke in a clear voice, "Ning Xiaocheng, do you still want to continue to challenge?" He could see that the first place of the academy was now completely controlled by Ning Cheng. As long as Ning Cheng was willing to challenge, then the God Wind Academy would be the first. If Ning Cheng was not willing to challenge, then the Falling Star Academy would be the first. Ning Cheng quickly stood up and cupped his fists and said, "This junior feels that his strength is limited. For the God Wind Academy to be able to obtain the second place, we are already very satisfied, and do not want to continue to challenge. But if someone challenges me, this junior will definitely accept the challenge." The old man presiding over the tournament then swept his gaze towards Situyu. He could see that only Situyu could compete with Ning Cheng. Once Situyu defeated Ning Cheng, then the first place would belong to the Clear Sky Academy. This junior also does not have any certainty, so I am not willing to continue to challenge. Situyu quickly responded. Hearing that Ning Cheng and Situyu were not willing to continue to challenge, Qi Ziwen and Ling Naixin were even more happy. The two of them did not even wait for the old man to ask, as they took the initiative to step forward and said that their strength was limited, and that they could not continue to challenge. Qi Ziwen had also stepped onto the platform, but Ling Naixin had not stepped onto the platform from the beginning to the end. The old man presiding over the tournament nodded, and immediately announced in a loud voice, "This year's tournament of the 5-Star Academies is now over. The Falling Star 5-Star Academy has obtained the first place with a score of 251 points. Because the Angry Axe Valley is about to open, the Falling Star 5-Star Academy will be promoted to a 6-Star Academy in half a year. During this period, the Falling Star Academy can integrate some of the resources from the 3 lower-class continents." Lu Xian glanced at Ning Cheng, although he also had such expectations, but it was not as clear as what Ning Cheng had said. Now it seems that what Ning Cheng had said was really not wrong. The old man wanted the newly promoted 6-Star Academy to integrate the resources from the lower-class continents. In addition to the opening of the Angry Axe Valley, there was also another meaning, and that was to see how much strength this newly promoted 6-Star Academy had, and whether it was in line with the selected 6-Star Academies. Thinking that the God Wind Academy did not even have a single profound core cultivator, Lu Xian subconsciously shivered. If the God Wind Academy really took the first place, then the God Wind Academy did not have any help from the intermediate class continents. Wanting to get all the resources was simply a dream. Not to mention those 5-Star Academies, even some of the more powerful 4-Star Academies and Academies would not pay any attention to the God Wind Academy. If the God Wind Academy obtained the first place, then it would not be the prelude to being promoted to a 6-Star Academy, but rather the prelude to courting death. Although the Falling Star Academy had this strength, it did not mean that the God Wind Academy would also have this strength. "Ning Cheng, this time I really have to thank you," Lu Xian said with some fear in his voice. "Deacon Lu is too polite. I am also a disciple of the God Wind Academy," Ning Cheng said with a smile, but in his heart he was also rejoicing. He had completely guessed it, but most of it was because of Ji Luofei. He did not expect that his guess would actually come true. This intermediate class continent really made the newly selected 6-Star Academy bear the brunt. Some of the academies who knew about the background of the God Wind Academy already understood why the God Wind Academy did not want to be the first place, and could not help but secretly admire the shrewdness of the God Wind Academy. The old man who presided over the tournament continued, "In addition to the Falling Star Academy that is about to become a 6-Star Academy, they will also receive a certain amount of resources as a reward, but the first place in each round of the tournament will also receive a reward. Because the first place in the first and second round of the tournament is the disciple of the Falling Star Academy, Yuing, so Yuing will receive the stipulated reward, and will also receive the opportunity to go to the Jia Continent's Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy to study. The Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy will also give the Falling Star Academy a certain amount of resources as compensation. The first place in the third round of the tournament is the God Wind Academy's Ning Xiaocheng. In addition to receiving the stipulated reward, Ning Xiaocheng will also receive a quota to go to the Angry Axe Valley, but this quota is not one of the 20 quotas for the lower class continents. All the cultivators who are participating in the Angry Axe Valley will be leaving together with the airship to the Jia continent tomorrow. After half a year, all the cultivators from the Hua continent who are coming out of the Angry Axe Valley will be directly sent to the Moze Grand Plaza by the airship. Ning Qing really thought, this old man really wanted to take away Yuing. Lu Xian was thinking about the benefits that the God Wind Academy would obtain this time, although the God Wind Academy did not obtain the first place and was promoted to a 6-star academy, but they had obtained 3 quotas to enter the Angry Axe Valley. If you added Ning Qing, then that would be 4 people. It can be imagined that when the disciples of the Angry Axe Valley came back, they would definitely bring back some good things. Even if it was not good, it would still be able to help the profound core dean of the God Wind Academy recover from his injuries. Thinking that the profound core dean of the God Wind Academy would be able to get rid of his injuries, Lu Xian was extremely excited. He quickly said to Ning Qing, this time when you go to the Angry Axe Valley, you must help my God Wind Academy look after the other 3 people. Ning Qing had not yet spoken, when Meng Jingxiu took the initiative to speak. Deacon Lu, I would like to recommend myself to enter the Angry Axe Valley. I ask Deacon Lu to help me, my lifelong wish is to enter the Angry Axe Valley. Saying that, Meng Jingxiu did not wait for Lu Xian to open his mouth, and once again bowed to Ning Qing and said, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, before I was looking down on you, I ask Senior Apprentice Brother Ning to be magnanimous and not care about a woman like me. The quota for the God Wind Academy to enter the Angry Axe Valley was obtained by Brother Ning. This Jingxiu shamelessly asks Senior Apprentice Brother Ning to allow me to have a chance. Jingxiu will definitely repay you in the Angry Axe Valley. Meng Jingxiu's rudeness before made Ning Qing feel very disgusted. But later he came to know that Meng Jingxiu was simply a straightforward person, and did not speak at all. She only knew the goal, and did not know the process of a woman. Although he did not have a good impression of Meng Jingxiu, but he did not feel disgusted with her. Meng Jingxiu had said that she wanted to participate in the 5-star tournament, which indicated that she was very eager to enter the Angry Axe Valley, and now she also said that she would definitely repay him in the Angry Axe Valley. Did she have a map of the Angry Axe Valley, or was it some sort of secret? Anyway, how Lu Xian used this quota, it would not affect him, he himself already had a quota. Thinking till here, Ning Qing said in a light voice, Deacon Lu is the Foreign Affairs Deacon of my God Wind Academy, everything in the God Wind Academy is decided by Deacon Lu. No matter what choice Deacon Lu makes, I will definitely support it. When Lu Xian heard Ning Cheng's words, he was overjoyed in his heart, but at the same time he was also secretly feeling comfortable, as he smiled and said, Meng Jingxiu is one of the most outstanding true condensation cultivators in our God Wind Academy, not to mention that in the first 2 rounds of the tournament, Meng Jingxiu also put in a lot of effort, so of course she would have a quota. Many thanks Deacon Lu, many thanks Senior Apprentice Brother Ning. Although Meng Jingxiu did not know how to conduct herself, but that did not mean that she did not know how to express her gratitude. After Lu Xian agreed to Meng Jingxiu, he turned to Ning Qing and said, Ning Qing, my God Wind Academy also has 2 disciples who are going to the Angry Axe Valley, one is called Sang Shua, and the other is called Ruemu Danqin. Speaking till here, Lu Xian waved his hand, and a young man and a younger girl who were standing behind him came to the front. The young male cultivator was estimated to be about the same age as Meng Jingxiu, and had the cultivation of true condensation 6th level, although he looked ordinary, but his face had a firm and resolute look. As for the young girl, Ning Qing estimated that she was at most 16 to 17 years old, but her cultivation was not low, she already had the cultivation of true condensation 5th level. Although this young girl had a pair of bright eyes, but she had thick lips, and her appearance was very ugly, it really did not match with her name at all. Ning Qing, it's just Sang Shua and Ruemu Danqin. Sang Shua's father is the dean of the God Wind Academy. Ruemu Danqin is the top genius of my God Wind Academy. I would like to ask you to take care of the 2 of them in the Angry Axe Valley. Lu Xian very earnestly said to Ning Qing. Chapter 122. Ning Qing was always on the run. Coupled with his beard, he did not look young, but the fact was that Sang Shua was older than Ning Qing. Although he was older than Ning Qing, but he had seen with his own eyes how powerful Ning Qing was on the stage, even an expert like Lian Hao was unable to step down from the stage under Ning Qing's hands, he already admired Ning Qing to the extreme. He knew that although his cultivation level was higher than Ning Cheng's, but if they really fought, then he would not be Ning Cheng's opponent. Now that Lu Xian wanted Ning Cheng to take care of him and Ruemu Danqin, he immediately cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and said, "Zhang Shua greets senior apprentice brother Ning." He could have called Ning Cheng as his junior apprentice brother, but he did not do so. Not to mention his status, compared to Ning Cheng, he did not know how much higher it was. Ning Cheng quickly said, "Senior apprentice brother Zhang is older than me, you can directly call me junior apprentice brother." Zhang Shua said in a stern tone, "My father has always warned me, in the Yixing mainland, those who reach first." Senior apprentice brother Ning's ability is obvious to all, so Zhang Shua should be respected as a senior apprentice brother. Ruemu Danqin was obviously not very sophisticated, she only saw Zhang Shua call Ning Cheng as his senior apprentice brother, and then quickly followed up and called him senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng. She had also been watching Ning Cheng's fight, listening to the discussions of the people on the side. Towards this senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng, she really admired him from the bottom of her heart. After Ning Cheng greeted the two of them, he turned to Lu Xian and said, "Deacon Lu, even if you did not tell me, Zhang Shua and Ruemu Danqin are all from the God Wind Academy, we should help each other. But Ning Cheng also has a matter that he would like to entrust to Deacon Lu." Lu Xian was incomparably sophisticated, Ning Cheng had not even finished his words, but he already knew what Ning Cheng wanted to say. He immediately said, "Ning Cheng, you only need to go to the Angry Axe Valley. Ji Luofei is a disciple of my God Wind Academy, I will certainly not let her suffer any grievances. I already agreed that you have an immortal cave, so when Luofei returns to the God Wind Academy with me, I will arrange for her to choose for herself." Seeing Lu Xian being so tactful, Ning Cheng was overjoyed in his heart, and hurriedly thanked him again, before they started to discuss the matter regarding the Angry Axe Valley. After nearly a year of the 5-star tournament finally came to an end, some people were happy while others were sad. The biggest winner was none other than the Falling Star Academy. Not only did they succeed in standing out from the crowd, and became the first 6-star academy in the lower class continent, but they also obtained 5 quotas to enter the Angry Axe Valley. As for the dead Shui Yu, it simply had nothing to do with the Falling Star Academy. So for the Falling Star Academy, in addition to selecting 5 elites to go to the Angry Axe Valley, the most important thing was to start with the establishment of a 6-star academy. The next day, when Lu Xian and Ji Luofei sent Ning Cheng, Meng Jingxiu, Zhang Shua, and Ruemu Danqin to the Moze Grand Plaza, a silver airship-type artifact was already parked in the center of the Moze Grand Plaza. Apart from them, everyone else had already arrived. Ning Cheng and the others did not have to wait for long, when a man wearing a yellow cultivator's robe spoke out in a loud voice, "All the cultivators heading to the Jia continent, please board the airship will soon leave this place." Ning Cheng repeatedly told Ji Luofei not to leave the God Wind Academy, and to wait for him to come back. He also asked Deacon Lu Xian to take care of Ji Luofei, before he waved goodbye to Ji Luofei and entered the cabin. Ji Luofei watched Ning Cheng enter the airship, while trying to hold back her tears. She had already secretly made up her mind, in the Falling Star Academy, she would definitely go all out in her cultivation. Ning Cheng had already given her more than half of the prizes, in addition to taking away a storage bag, he even gave her an essence-building pill and a medium-grade spiritual artifact. The silver airship brought with it a silver light as it rushed into the sky from the Moze Grand Plaza, and in just a twinkling of an eye disappeared without a trace. Lu Xian quickly brought out his airship-type artifact, and informed all the people from the God Wind Academy and Ji Luofei to board the airship-type artifact, and immediately took control of the airship and left the Moze city. This was what Ning Cheng had repeatedly said. Once he left, he also asked Lu Xian not to stay in the Moze Grand Plaza for even half a moment, and immediately leave. Ning Cheng had guessed that the 6-star academy would only be able to come to the Hua continent to help with the construction of the 6-star academy after the Angry Axe Valley had closed, as such Lu Xian attached great importance to Ning Cheng's opinion. The airship of the God Wind Academy had just left, when a profound congealing cultivator and a late-stage essence-building cultivator from the Shui clan arrived at the Moze Grand Plaza. When they learned that the God Wind Academy had already left a moment ago, they resentfully turned back to the Shui clan. The 4 people from the God Wind Academy who were going to the Angry Axe Valley were vaguely led by Ning Cheng. Even Meng Jingxiu, who had eyes on the top of her head, at this time also obediently stood behind Ning Cheng. There were a total of 22 people from the Hua continent who were going to the Angry Axe Valley. As Ning Cheng looked at them, many of them were familiar faces. Che Ziwen, Meng Yujing, Sita Yu, Ling Naixin, Fang Xian, Pu Xian, Yu Ying, and the others. But what made Ning Cheng puzzled was that he unexpectedly saw Yong Guyun from the Ping continent. Even if Yong Guyun was now at the late stage of Qi gathering 9th level, moreover she was also from the Ping continent, so how could she have the qualifications to enter the Angry Axe Valley? Ning Cheng's doubts had not yet been solved, when he once again saw a familiar back. This back quickly disappeared from his sight, as the other people entered the cabin of the airship. Ning Cheng frowned, as he kept thinking about where he had seen this back before. Ning Cheng's memory was incomparably strong, but he unexpectedly could not remember where he had seen this back. A man with the cultivation of essence building realm said to the crowd, 4 people to a cabin, quickly go in. When the airship passes through the Lost Mountain Range, it is possible that we will encounter a powerful monstrous beast attack. If you feel the intense shaking or jolting of the airship, then stay in the cabin and do not come out. Everyone hastily complied, but at the same time they also had doubts in their hearts. The airship was flying at such a high altitude, and yet there were still monstrous beasts attacking. Just how powerful were these monstrous beasts? Lost Mountain Range, what a strange name. Ruemu Danqin, who was behind Ning Cheng, whispered to herself. Junior apprentice sister Danqin, don't speak too much here, just listen to senior apprentice brother Ning. Zhang Shua quickly exhorted. The ancient legend of the Lost Mountain Range is that this mountain range does not have a center, and the center of the mountain range is lost. There is also another legend, as long as anyone dares to walk through the center of the Lost Mountain Range, whether it is on the ground or in the air, they will disappear without a trace. It is because of this, that the name Lost Mountain Range came to be. Our airship can only pass through the edge of the Lost Mountain Range. A young man in the middle of the team took the initiative to answer Ruemu Danqin's words. Ning Cheng was suddenly moved in his heart. He finally remembered where he had seen that person's back. The man who had answered Ruemu Danqin took the initiative to come up to Ning Cheng and cupped his fists and said, I am Fang Xian from the Luohua Academy, greetings elder brother Ning. Ning Cheng immediately understood, this Fang Xian had almost died in the hands of Lian Hao, as such he naturally did not have even half a shred of goodwill towards the insidious and vicious Lian Hao. Later when he killed Lian Hao and helped him take his revenge, he definitely felt some gratitude towards him in his heart, as such he only took the initiative to speak to him now. This was also reasonable. Originally it was elder brother Fang from the Luohua Academy. Many thanks to elder brother Fang for dispelling my doubts. In fact I did not know that the Lost Mountain Range had such a history. Ning Cheng hastily cupped his fists in return. The two of them were just about to speak a few more words, when that essence-building cultivator once again spoke. Let's talk about it after the airship passes through the Lost Mountain Range. After we land we can talk about it. Now let's first enter the inner cabin room. Everyone did not dare to stay outside, and immediately looked for a room to enter. The God Wind Academy just happened to have 4 people, so they all chose the same room. We will stay in the room, do not go out. After Ning Cheng entered the room, he immediately spoke to the other 3 people. Ning Cheng was now equivalent to the representative of the God Wind Academy, as such no one expressed any objection to his words, as they all closed their eyes to rest. Meng Jingxiu wanted to ask Ning Cheng how he killed Lian Hao, but Ning Cheng obviously did not want to talk about it, as such she also did not dare to take the initiative to disturb Ning Cheng. At this time Ning Cheng was thinking about that figure. He now remembered who that figure belonged to. It was the bald man at the True Condensation 3rd level that he had seen on the streets of the Moze city. That guy was wearing a jade bracelet on his hand, which made him notice him. At that time, because Luo Fei was stopped by the people from the Shui clan, he had given up on following that bald man. But the reason why he could not remember was because the figure that he had seen a moment ago was that of a woman. Moreover, it was a long-haired girl. A bald man and a long-haired girl, no wonder he could not remember. Ning Cheng was also able to recognize who this long-haired girl was. It really was that King Xiao Xiao from the Thunder Fall Desert. When Ning Cheng recognized that the other party was the king that he had met in the desert, he immediately thought of the jade bracelet, and then thought that the backs of these two people were somewhat similar. For Ning Cheng, as long as there was even a little bit of similarity, he could immediately associate it. Ning Cheng was sure that even if that bald man was not Xiao Xiao, there was still a great relationship between them. Moreover, Ning Cheng was also sure that when he had seen that bald man on the streets, and was attracted by his jade bracelet, it was absolutely not a coincidence. Whether this King Xiao Xiao came for the Angry Axe Valley, or for the imperial jade seal on his body, Ning Cheng was a little more vigilant in his heart. That girl was able to enter the ruins of the Lani country, and even come out unscathed. It showed that she was not a simple person. Tsang Shua, how did our God Wind Academy's Dean Sung get injured? Is the injury serious? The doubts in Ning Cheng's heart disappeared, and his whole body relaxed. He did not ask Lu Xian about the injury of the Dean Sung. With Lu Xian's craftiness, as long as he asked, he would immediately know what he meant. He asked about the injury of the Dean Sung, because he was really worried about Ji Luo Fei's safety. If the injury of the profound core dean of the God Wind Academy was not really that serious, then Ji Luo Fei's safety in the God Wind Academy would be another layer of protection. Tsang Shua obviously did not think too much about it. Now that Ning Cheng asked about it, he quickly replied, "Many thanks for elder brother Ning's concern. My father's injury is very serious. This time I went to the Angry Axe Valley to look for the rainbow light grass." Rainbow light grass. Ning Cheng was moved in his heart, looking for the rainbow light grass. Didn't it mean that the Dean Sung's core lake was seriously injured? If a profound core cultivator's core lake was injured, then if it was serious, then it would be equivalent to a cripple. He had also obtained a rainbow light grass in the Dawn Forest, but he had auctioned it off. Now that he thought about it, it was a pity. Chapter 123. Yes, not only do I want to find the rainbow light grass, I want to find more than one. A stalk of rainbow light grass is not enough to refine the profound rainbow pill. Tsang Shua said in a downcast tone. Ning Cheng nodded. The profound rainbow pill is one of the highest ranked true grade 4 pills. If one does not have a tier 5 profound pill master, then refining it would indeed be very difficult. Dean Zong has the cultivation of profound core realm. Who in the Hua continent could possibly injure him? Tsang Shua remained silent for a long while. Then, he suddenly activated a sound isolation restriction. Ning Cheng looked at Tsang Shua in a puzzled manner, but did not ask anything. He knew that Tsang Shua had placed the sound isolation restriction on him. It should not be just so that Ruemu Danqin and Meng Jingxiu could not hear them. Could it be that the God Wind Academy's Dean Zong was seriously injured and there was something else hidden? Brother Ning should know about the Yixing Ocean, right? It is the largest sea outside of the Yixing mainland. Tsang Shua unexpectedly did not directly speak about his father's serious injuries, but instead spoke about the Yixing Ocean. Ning Cheng shook his head and said, "I only know that the largest sea is the Mingat Sea. I came from the Ping continent, so I am very familiar with the Mingat Sea." Tsang Shua shook his head and said, "The Mingat Sea area is just an inland sea of the Yixing Ocean. Compared to the Yixing Ocean, it is simply not worth mentioning. It is just a drop in the ocean." A lot of people knew that the Yixing mainland was vast and boundless, and also had 9 continents, which were divided into lower-class continents, intermediate-class continents and advanced-class continents. In fact, if the Yixing mainland was thrown into the Yixing Ocean, it would disappear without a trace. The Yixing Ocean could only be seen from the edge of the continent. In the lower-leveled continents, only the Hua continent could reach the Yixing Ocean. But the Ping continent and the Yuan continent cannot see the Yixing Ocean. They can only see the inland sea, such as the Mingat Sea. Ning Cheng sucked in a mouthful of cold air. He knew that the Ping continent was boundless, but he had not even gone to a corner of the Hua continent, let alone the Yixing mainland. Now listening to Tsang Rua say that the Yixing Ocean was even bigger than the Yixing mainland, what kind of cultivation would one need to have in order to travel across it? It was laughable that he still wanted to rush out of the Yixing mainland and return to Earth. After Zhang Shua came to know that Ning Qing did not know anything about the Yixing Ocean, he spoke even more clearly. I know this not because I have a lot of knowledge, but because my father told me about it. Among the cultivators with high cultivation, there was a rumor that in addition to the 9 continents of the Yixing mainland, there was also a 10th continent. It's just that this 10th continent is separated by the Yixing Ocean, so we are unable to see it. Ning Qing nodded. He was not surprised by this. In ancient times, China didn't even know that there was an American continent across the Pacific Ocean. It should be very normal for a continent or planet to have such a situation. I heard that the 10th continent is the place where the true powerhouses of the Yixing mainland gather. Moreover, the highest cultivation among them even surpasses the crucible transformation realm. Of course, even my father can't be sure. As Zhang Shua spoke till here, Ning Qing couldn't help but ask in a puzzled manner, I heard people say that in the Yixing mainland, the pinnacle of cultivation is the crucible transformation realm. Since your father is not sure about it, then how did he know about this matter? Zhang Shua sighed and said, the Yixing mainland's 9 continents is not as stable as it looks on the surface. In addition to the innumerable monstrous beasts that often erupt in beast tides, what is even more terrifying is the foreign enemies that come from the Yixing Ocean. Monstrous beasts and beast tide from the sea. When Ning Qing heard about the beast tide, he immediately remembered the beast tide that had occurred in the Mingat Sea. Zhang Shua shook his head and spoke, not just the monstrous beasts, but the cultivators from the opposite side of the Yixing Ocean. To cross the Yixing Ocean is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Even if one cultivated to the pinnacle of the Yixing mainland, it would still be extremely difficult. Therefore the cultivators who cross from the opposite side of the Yixing Ocean would most likely fall in the Yixing Ocean. But there are also some cultivators who, before they fall, would find some islands in the Yixing Ocean. In these islands, they would then reproduce their descendants. Even if the islands are large, but the resources are still limited. As the descendants of these people grow more and more, it also leads to a shortage of resources. Therefore, they have to look for other islands or places with resources, and as a result, they ended up finding the Yixing mainland's 9 continents. It is not surprising. Ning Qing somewhat understood and asked, you mean to say, these people want to attack the Yixing mainland's 9 continents? Why is that? The Yixing mainland is vast and boundless. If those people come, then they should have a place to hide and cultivate. Zhang Shua spoke, you do not know how many of these people there are. It is not thousands of them, but rather hundreds of thousands or even millions of them. Not only that, but they are also allied with the monstrous beasts from the Yixing Ocean. They want to turn the 9 continents into their territory. This kind of competition has never stopped. The Hua continent is equivalent to the Yixing Ocean's battlefield, so the war is relatively peaceful. My father was injured in the Yixing Ocean's battlefield. So this is the Great War of the 3 continents. Ah, I have heard of it. Ning Qing nodded. When he had just arrived at the Zhangqin province, he had heard of the Great War of the 3 continents. Not only had he heard of it, but he also knew that the Falling Star Academy had chosen 10 places from the Zhangqin Academy, because a profound core expert from the Ping continent had made a great contribution in the Great War of the 3 continents. That profound core cultivator was called Lian Haoyan. When Ning Qing thought of this name, he suddenly remembered Lian Hao, who he had killed. These 2 names seemed to have a difference of a single character. Zhang Shua's tone suddenly became a bit agitated. If my father was really in the Great War of the 3 continents, then he would have been injured by the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. But he was secretly injured by those treacherous people from the 3 continents. My father vowed to take revenge, but his core lake was broken, so even if he was angry, he could only grit his teeth and swallow it. Ning Qing did not ask anything. He knew that since Zhang Shua spoke till here, then he would definitely talk about who had injured his father. The people who injured my father were the Shui clan's profound core cultivator Shui Yi Han, and the Luo Ho Academy's profound core cultivator Lu Yi. These 2 people are extremely sinister and ruthless. Secretly killing people from their own side, and even using the name of righteousness, they really are shameless to the extreme. Unfortunately, now only my father knows about their evil deeds. When I came to the Angry Axe Valley, my father had already told me that if I could not find the rainbow-like grass, then I must not return to the Hua continent. Senior apprentice brother Ning, you and the Shui clan have a grudge, so I am telling you this. Although that Shui clan's profound core cultivator sneak attacked my father, but he was also seriously injured by my father, and should now be in the process of healing, but his injuries are relatively light. Tsang Shua finished speaking, his eyes were still full of anger. After listening to Tsang Shua's words, Ning Qing suddenly stood up, as his face kept changing. He had never thought that the profound core dean of the God Wind Academy would unexpectedly be seriously injured by a profound core cultivator from the Shui clan. Was it right or wrong for him to leave Ji Luofei in the God Wind Academy? In case that Shui clan's profound core cultivator recovered from his injuries, and came to the God Wind Academy, then what would he do? But I think that Shui Yihan of the Shui clan, even if he recovered from his injuries, would not dare to casually come to my God Wind Academy. In any case, the God Wind Academy is a 5-star academy. So even if I cannot find the rainbow-like grass, I will still return to the Hua continent. Tsang Shua did not care about Ning Cheng's thoughts, and still continued to speak. Ning Cheng was not in the mood to talk to Tsang Shua, he just wanted to wait for the Angry Axe Valley to close, and then immediately return to the God Wind Academy to take Ji Luofei away. If he had known about this matter, then even if he had to take the risk, he would have brought Ji Luofei to his side. Tsang Shua, seeing Ning Qing silent, also no longer spoke. At this time, the whole room suddenly shook. Not only was it shaking, but the shaking was getting bigger and bigger. Senior apprentice brother Tsang, what's wrong? Ruemu Danqin was the first to ask in a panic, she was the youngest, and was unable to quickly adapt to some sudden events. Tsang Shua also did not know what was going on, when the sound tablet inside the room suddenly sounded out, the airship has encountered an attack from a monstrous beast over the Lost Mountain Range, everyone is to stay in their rooms, do not go out casually. Ning Cheng was also secretly horrified, this airship was flying at such a high altitude, and yet it was still being attacked by a monstrous beast. What kind of monstrous beast was this? Wasn't it a bit too powerful? This kind of shaking and tumbling lasted for an entire day, before it slowly stabilized. That monstrous beast should have been killed. Feeling that the room had calmed down, Meng Jingxiu said with a sigh. The few of them were also relieved, in case the airship was breached, from such a high altitude, even if they did not fall to their deaths, but if they fell into the Lost Mountain Range, then it would be a 9 out of 10 death situation. But just as they were able to relax, the airship once again shook. In this way, the airship continued to shake, everyone was not in the mood to cultivate, every day they lived in fear, fearing that the airship would be torn apart by the monstrous beast's attack. It was not until half a month later, that the airship completely stabilized. In this half a month, the few of them, in addition to occasionally going out to eat in the food cabin, could only hide in their rooms. Ning Cheng went out several times, but did not see that King Swan Ni again. After experiencing half a month of shaking, the airship finally stabilized, Ning Cheng was also relieved. He did not want to fall into the Lost Mountain Range. Once he entered the Lost Mountain Range, he did not know when he would be able to return to the Hua continent. Ning Xiaocheng, Senior Kong has asked you to come over. At this time, an essence-building cultivator opened the door of the room where Ning Cheng and the others were staying and spoke. Ning Cheng and the others knew this person, it was the same essence-building cultivator who had brought Ning Cheng and the others into the cabin when Ning Cheng and the others had just boarded the airship. Ning Cheng stood up in doubt, he did not know who this Senior Kong was. But now that he was on someone else's airship, no matter which senior called him, he could only go over. Following the essence-building cultivator to the deck of the airship, Ning Cheng found that the deck was stained with blood, the traces of the battle had not been completely erased. Ning Cheng had studied array formations, so he knew that the defensive array formation on the deck had been rearranged. When they had boarded the airship from the Moze City's Grand Plaza, the deck was still clean, but now it was stained with blood. It could be seen that in the last half a month, the airship had suffered a lot of attacks. A dignified man was sitting on a green rattan chair at the edge of the deck. In front of him was a white jade table. On top of the jade table was a cup of spiritual tea. The spiritual tea was still giving off a trace of steam. When Ning Qing saw this man, he immediately recognized him. It was the dignified man who had presided over the first and second round of the Moze Grand Plaza. He immediately knew that this person should be that Senior Kong, and quickly stepped forward and gave a respectful bow and said, "Junior Ning Qing greets Senior Kong." "Are you Ning Qing?" the dignified man asked in a light voice. "It is indeed this junior." Ning Qing was a little uneasy in his heart. He did not understand why this person had come to look for him. This dignified man nodded, but unexpectedly did not ask why Ning Qing wanted to change his name. Instead he pointed to another green rattan chair opposite him, and said to Ning Qing in a warm voice, "You sit down, I want to ask you a few questions." Chapter 124. Ning Qing suppressed the nervousness in his heart and spoke, "In front of Senior, this junior does not dare to sit. Senior, feel free to ask. I will tell you everything I know." People under the eaves have no choice but to bow their heads. Ning Qing sighed in his heart. This person surnamed Kang's cultivation definitely exceeded the profound core realm, and was at least a cultivator in the soul essence realm. Cloud soul realm cultivators had their own primordial spirits. Even if his physical body was damaged, as long as his primordial spirit existed, he would be able to reincarnate. Or perhaps he could reconstruct his body. The primordial spirit was not a soul. It could be said that, with the exception of the fleshly body, the primordial spirit possessed most of a cultivator's abilities. The dignified-looking man nodded, expressing his satisfaction with Ning Qing's tactfulness. He pondered for a moment before saying, "What hybrid spiritual root do you have?" This junior has not been tested in detail, but when I joined the 2-Star Academy, I had taken the test once, and it was said that I have a 4-element spiritual root, and can be considered as a good hybrid spiritual root. Ning Qing replied without even half a moment of hesitation. There were a lot of people who knew that he was Ning Qing, and there were also a lot of people who knew that he had a 4-line hybrid spiritual root. As such, he simply did not need to hide it. The reason why he said that his hybrid spiritual root was better was to explain his cultivation. "I watched the match. You could have easily helped the God Wind Academy win the first place. Why did you give up in the end?" the dignified-looking man continued to ask. Ning Qing spoke in a calm and unhurried manner. "After this junior joined the God Wind Academy, I came to know that the profound core dean of the God Wind Academy was seriously injured. Deacon Lu Xian believed that the God Wind Academy did not have the help of the seniors from the intermediate class continents. Even if it was promoted to a 6-Star Academy, it would not be able to keep its position as a 6-Star Academy. This junior deeply agrees with what Deacon Lu said, plus the God Wind Academy really does not have the qualifications to be promoted to a 6-Star Academy, so I took the initiative to give up the idea of fighting for the first place for the God Wind Academy. It's not that junior doesn't want to fight for first place on purpose. Senior, please understand." Ning Qing pretended to be confused. It was obviously his idea, but he had imposed it on Lu Xian. He believed that the person in front of him would not go and confront Lu Xian. The dignified-looking man nodded and said, "What you said is right. This round of the tournament is a bit rushed. The third round of the tournament is really not enough to select the strongest 5-Star Academy. At best, they could only choose the most powerful true condensation cultivator. Let's put this matter aside. I will ask you again, you have a 4-line hybrid spiritual root. It is reasonable to say that your cultivation would not increase this fast, so why are you already at true condensation 3rd level?" This time Ning Qing did not conceal anything, and directly said that he had obtained a spiritual essence spring pond in the Dawn Forest. She even took the initiative to draw the location and gave it to the dignified man in front of her. The dignified-looking man was already aware that Ning Qing had obtained the spiritual essence pond, so now that Ning Qing answered him, he did not find it strange at all, as he took the things that Ning Qing had drawn and looked at them, before he put them away in a non-committal manner and spoke. "I saw that during the tournament, you had also comprehended a kind of axe intent and a kind of spear intent. Moreover, your spear intent had even reached the realm of minor accomplishment. Ordinary people, even if their aptitude is heaven-defying, would not be able to comprehend two types of killing intents at your age. Can you explain that to me? Ning Cheng was secretly relieved. He was not afraid of this person asking him why his cultivation was so high, but he was afraid that this person would ask him when was the last time he encountered a spiritual essence spring. If the other party really asked such a question, he really did not know how to answer. He wanted to lie to the other party, but he was also afraid that the other party had already investigated him thoroughly. If he didn't lie to the other party, he would be dead for sure. Now that the other party did not ask this question, Ning Cheng was sure that the other party had not investigated his situation in detail. Thinking until here, Ning Cheng felt a bit more at ease in his heart. He slowly spoke about the large battlefield that he had seen in the Dawn Forest, and even the spear marks and the axe marks were clearly described. At the same time, he also took out the broken spear from his storage bag, and handed it to the dignified-looking man in front of him. When the man took back his broken spear, Ning Cheng spoke in a slightly complacent tone, "My ability to comprehend is innate. It is just like the additional question that the 5-Star Academy put out for the selection of disciples. I was able to easily obtain the answer." Ning Cheng quickly spoke about his own ability. When he heard the other party say that he had comprehended two types of killing intents, he was even more frightened in his heart. He did not understand what an origin was, but he was sure that the reason why he could comprehend the killing intents so quickly was definitely related to the mysterious yellow bead. The man gave an "n" sound. Apparently he was aware of Ning Cheng's formidable computing ability. After he looked at the broken spear in his hands, he handed the broken spear back to Ning Cheng and asked, "You have a hybrid spiritual root, so it is normal that you cannot see the changes in the leather scroll. With your ability, you should be able to determine that there must have been some changes to the first question. Why did you write that there was no change? As long as you fill in changes, even if you can't answer the following questions, won't you get another 5 points?" Ning Cheng hurriedly replied in a respectful manner. After this junior looked at the questions behind the questions, I really knew that there were some changes in the questions. However, this junior thinks that it's better not to do such an opportunistic thing. Because even if he did, he wouldn't be able to get any ranking with 5 more points, so he might as well fill in the form based on reality. Besides, even if there were changes in the answer, Senior would know that this question was a wild guess. This junior is very much looking forward to going to the Angry Axe Valley, and really does not want to give Senior any bad impression. The dignified old man nodded, and gave an "n" sound, and was extremely satisfied with Ning Cheng's answer. "Not bad. At such a young age you already have such a strong comprehension ability, and can even restrain your own desires. In the future you will definitely be able to achieve great things." He had already seen Ning Cheng's little bit of complacency from before, but towards Ning Cheng's little bit of complacency, he did not think much of it. After all, he was still a young man, and Ning Cheng did not seem to have even reached 30 years of age. After achieving some results, it was only natural for him to be complacent. Because Ning Cheng had a beard, and had experienced many things in the Dawn Forest and the Thunder Fall Desert, as such he looked much older than his actual age. If this man knew that Ning Cheng was not even 19 years old, perhaps he would not have thought like this. "If you have any questions, you can also ask me." After the dignified man finished asking the question, his tone seemed to have eased a lot. Ning Cheng quickly asked, "Senior, may I ask if the entrance to the Angry Axe Valley is in the Jia continent?" The man faintly smiled and said, "No, to be exact, there are 6 entrances to the Angry Axe Valley. There are entrances to both the intermediate class continents and the high class continents. The Jia continent is the closest to the Hua continent. Strictly speaking, the distance between the Angry Axe Valley entrance and the Hua continent is even shorter than the distance to the Jia continent. It is only because of the Lost Mountain Range in the middle. Because after we pass through the Lost Mountain Range, and after flying for a few days, we can reach the entrance to the Angry Axe Valley." Listening to the dignified man's answer, Ning Cheng quickly said, "Many thanks to Senior for dispelling my doubts. This junior does not have any questions." It was impossible for him to not have any questions. Ning Cheng really wanted to ask about the 10th continent, as well as some things about the Yixing Ocean. But he knew that the more he spoke, the more mistakes he would make, the more the other party called him although it was not necessarily because he suspected him, but it was definitely because he had some doubts about his spear intent and axe intent. Of course, not asking a question was also not good. This was something that Ning Cheng had read about in psychology. If he asked the other party a question with the attitude of a scholar, then it would imperceptibly lower the other party's guard against him. Good, you can go back first. The rest of the journey should not be too dangerous. You can also go out of the cabin and walk around. After the dignified man finished speaking to Ning Cheng, he picked up the white jade spiritual tea cup on the table. Ning Cheng quickly said his goodbyes, and hurried back to his room. Once he returned to his room, Ning Cheng was not in the mood to speak. He originally wanted to ask Lian Haoyan about it, but now he did not have any thoughts. He just took out the Alchemy Foundation jade piece that the old woman had given him to look at. The other three people saw that Ning Cheng was not in the mood to speak, and tactfully went back to their own cultivation. A few days quickly passed by. On this day Ning Cheng and the others felt that their center of gravity had dropped, and knew that the airship should be descending. Ning Cheng quickly put away the Alchemy Foundation jade piece, and said to Tsang Shua and the others, "Prepare to get off the airship. After we enter the Angry Axe Valley, everyone try not to separate. I heard that it is very dangerous inside. Every time a lot of people enter the Angry Axe Valley, many of them would fall." "I know, Senior Apprentice Brother Xiao Cheng," Ruemu Danqin said in a crisp voice, although she already had the cultivation of intermediate stage true condensation realm, but the God Wind Academy had always treated her as a treasure, and as such did not give her the opportunity to temper herself. Compared to the other girls of the same age, she was far inferior. She only knew that she had to listen to her senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng's words. That Yuing was not much older than Ruemu Danqin, but her mind was very mature. It was as if she was a person who had been through the Jianghu for a long time. After the airship landed, Ning Cheng followed the others out of the airship. This time Ning Cheng deliberately paid attention to the people who came down from the airship, and once again saw King Xiu Xiu. At this time she had her head down, and was also wearing a veil, and even her body shape had slightly changed, but Ning Cheng was still able to see that this woman was Xiu Xiu. Yuing saw Ning Cheng looking at her, and deliberately smiled at Ning Cheng. It was because of her big brother, that her view of Ning Cheng had changed a bit. Ning Cheng nodded to Yuing. He was not interested in paying attention to this little girl. For her to be brought to the Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy was definitely not a good thing, but it was not something that he could control. Ning Cheng was already stunned by the scene in front of him. How was this the entrance to the Angry Axe Valley? This place was simply a vegetable market. Ning Cheng roughly calculated, there were at least hundreds of thousands of people here, as far as the eye could see. There were all kinds of stalls, and all kinds of temporary shops. It was incomparably noisy. Passing through the noisy crowd, there was a white mist lingering around, and inside the mist there was a rumbling sound. It made people suspect that there would be an explosion at any time. The Angry Axe Valley is shrouded in mist. We cannot go in now. Once we get close, we will be pushed out by a formidable force. The Angry Axe Valley has not yet opened, but after it opens, we will give each of you a jade card. With the help of the jade card you will be able to enter. A cultivator with the cultivation of essence building realm stood at the exit of the airship, and spoke to Ning Cheng and the others. At this time, the dignified-looking man surnamed Kang slowly walked out of the airship. He glanced at Ning Cheng and the other 22 people, and then deliberately nodded to Yuing and said, "You will come with me, the rest of you will wait here for the Angry Axe Valley to open." As he spoke till here, he suddenly stopped, looked at Yong Guyun in the crowd and asked, "You are only at Qi Gathering 9th level, how come you were selected to participate in the Angry Axe Valley?" Yong Guyun quickly replied in a respectful manner, "This junior is a cultivator from the Ping continent. Because I made a great contribution to the Falling Star Academy, I was able to obtain a quota." "Oh, is that Ning Cheng also from the Ping continent?" The man nodded and asked. Yong Guyun immediately replied, reporting to Senior, "Ning Cheng came here from the Dawn Forest half a year ago. Before he entered the Dawn Forest, he was only at the Qi Gathering realm, but his progress is much better than mine." When Ning Cheng heard this, he immediately screamed in his heart. Chapter 125. When Ning Cheng was in the Qi Gathering realm, he had encountered a Class 3 monstrous beast, although he was not able to defeat a Class 3 monstrous beast, but that was the Dawn Forest. He generally did not go and provoke those Class 3 monstrous beasts. But now, he wasn't the one who wanted to provoke a Class 3 demonic beast. It was the Class 3 demonic beast that provoked him. Along the way, he did not see even half an axe trace, but the aura of the axe charm was still being captured by him, causing Ning Cheng to gradually enter into a state of selflessness. At this moment, he only knew that he was constantly using his hands to chop out the axe intent that he had comprehended, and then step by step he walked towards the place where the aura of the axe charm was even more concentrated. Ning Cheng forced himself to stand up, and without even thinking about it, turned around and walked away. He knew that he was definitely not a match for this monstrous beast. Just a moment ago, his spear had only blasted a bloody hole in the monstrous beast's palm, but the monstrous beast did not seem to notice it at all. Once he was entangled by the monstrous beast, his best outcome would be to perish together with the monstrous beast. Ning Cheng looked around and once again found a few pieces of silver light jades. He did not search the entire messy stone field. After all, the silver light jade was not a high-level thing. This was the Angry Axe Valley, and the valley would only open for 3 months. It was said that there were many good things in the Angry Axe Valley, so if he stayed in this gravel field, then the gains would not make up for the losses. He almost rushed to the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley in the shortest time possible, but unfortunately, Ning Cheng had already entered the Angry Axe Valley one step ahead of him, and was once again blown away by that white mist. Just a little bit more and he would have been able to catch Ning Cheng. If it was an ordinary person, he would have lost half his life. The scene was already noisy and chaotic. Ning Cheng's words were equivalent to throwing a few sparks into an extremely dry bag of explosives. As these words came out, countless people immediately rushed towards the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley. What made Ning Cheng amazed was that most of the people who were rushing towards the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley were not pushed out, only a small number of people were pushed out. Saying that, Ning Cheng loudly shouted, "The Angry Axe Valley has already opened, because of the explosion at the entrance. Now you do not need a jade card to go in, you can go in early, but you can't go in late." Plop. At this moment, Ning Cheng was thrown onto a rugged gravel ground, causing his entire body to feel pain from the rubble. Ning Cheng was burning with anxiety. He knew that if he did not think of a way at this time, then once that dignified-looking man came over, then he would definitely die. Ning Cheng did not have the time to answer, when he heard an extremely terrifying explosion, causing the entire ground to tremble. Previously, when that essence building cultivator had pointed at the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley, a huge mushroom cloud had already risen up. The reason why he felt that it was familiar, was because he had felt this kind of aura before. Initially, when he was in the Dawn Forest, he had seen a crack created by a great axe, and he had comprehended the axe intent next to that crack, and this faintly discernible aura was precisely this axe intent. Now that Yong Gu Yun said that Ning Cheng had come from the Dawn Forest for less than a year, he immediately became suspicious. Even if a person with a 4-line hybrid spiritual root soaked in the spiritual essence pond, it would still be impossible for them to advance from the Qi Gathering realm to the true condensation 3rd level in just a year. No matter what, it was better to leave this place first. The long spear in Ning Cheng's hand directly brought out the imposing aura from the surroundings, as it stabbed towards the head of this monstrous beast. This monstrous beast in the air felt that Ning Cheng's spear was not as simple as it looked, and once again roared loudly, as it raised its huge palms to meet Ning Cheng's spear. For Ning Cheng, not to mention that he did not know where the treasures were, even if he knew, he would not be able to go there at this time. His whole person had already sunk into an unconscious epiphany. Bang! Ning Cheng's spear, which brought out the imposing aura from the surroundings, immediately exploded on the thick palms of this monstrous beast, bringing out a curtain of blood. As an expert who had cultivated to the soul essence realm, his thinking was very meticulous. As such, he did not doubt Ning Cheng's words. As such, Ning Cheng's answer was not strange at all. Besides, he also believed that Ning Cheng was just an early-stage true condensation cultivator, and would not dare to deceive him. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out at the people who were thrown out of the Angry Axe Valley, and immediately determined that there was a change in the Angry Axe Valley. These people who were pushed out, all of their cultivations had already surpassed the essence building realm. In other words, all the cultivators who were in the essence building realm and below, could now enter, and not only those who were in the essence building realm and below could enter. Bang bang, the monstrous beast called out a few times. It was just like the sound of a broken door, while it bared its fangs, and hissed at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng stepped forward and picked up the silver light jade. His heart was filled with expectations. Perhaps this place would give him an unexpected surprise. Ning Cheng was even crazier to rush forward. It was not only Ning Cheng who discovered this problem, all the cultivators in front of the Angry Axe Valley also discovered this problem. At this moment, more than 100,000 people formed a human-shaped tide, flowing in the direction of the Angry Axe Valley. But Ning Cheng soon became excited, as he saw a rank 4 crafting material, silver light jade. Silver light jade was a material used to refine top-quality artifacts. Moreover, the artifacts that were mixed with the silver light jade were extremely beautiful, and were the most popular among female cultivators. This piece of silver light jade had been weathered by the wind and rain outside, and was now incomparably bright and clean. Ning Cheng opened his hand, and the long spear immediately fell into his palm. At the same time he was able to clearly see this shadow. It was a rank 3 monstrous beast. Its entire body was pale gray in color, and was almost the same color as the gravel field. Its head and neck were almost the same length. It somewhat looked like a brown bear, but its size was much bigger than a bear. As for what kind of monstrous beast this was, Ning Cheng simply did not know. Ning Cheng, stop right there. The dignified-looking cultivator surnamed Kong, who had been blown away by the white mist at the entrance of the Angry Axe Valley, finally understood what was going on. Ning Cheng actually wanted to run away. Not only did he want to run away, but he was also encouraging the others to run away together with him. This dignified-looking man did not wait for Ning Cheng to answer, and immediately took a step forward. He wanted to check out the situation, but he had just stepped into the misty area, when he was immediately blown away by an extremely powerful force. In an instant, he passed over the heads of Ning Cheng and the others. It was obvious that this kind of force was incomparably powerful. Feeling this incomparably clear axe intent, Ning Cheng unexpectedly forgot that he was still in the Angry Axe Valley, and instead unconsciously followed the traces left behind by the axe kill. Feeling a burst of dizziness, Ning Cheng was swept away by the white mist, but he was actually relieved. At this time he should have already entered the Angry Axe Valley. At least now he did not need to worry about that guy surnamed Kong. Ning Cheng lowered his body and carefully sensed the movements around him, when he suddenly caught a faintly discernible familiar aura. At this time, Ning Cheng was already very careful. In case a class 4 monstrous beast suddenly appeared from somewhere, he would not even be able to avoid it. At this time, even if Ning Cheng did not desperately try to squeeze into the Angry Axe Valley, he would still be quickly brought in by the crowd. Yuing and Yonggu Yun, who had lower cultivations, did not even have half a shred of ability to resist. Other than following the crowd, there was no other way to change the situation. If they forced their way through the crowd, with their cultivation, it would simply be courting death. But the huge backlash force directly blew away Ning Cheng. This monstrous beast did not even care about its palm, and once again pounced towards Ning Cheng. Thinking until here, Ning Cheng did not feel happy at all. The territories of the monstrous beasts were also divided according to their strength. This piece of gravel field obviously did not have many treasures. It could be seen that the monstrous beast that he was fighting a moment ago belonged to the category of people who did not have much skill. If he could not even beat a person who did not have much skill, then once he met someone with some skill, then what would he do? This piece of gravel field was not small, but Ning Cheng was not familiar with the Angry Axe Valley, so he did not dare to bring out a flight-type magical weapon. Just as Ning Cheng was calculating in which direction he should go, a subtle flow of air made Ning Cheng cautiously dodge to the side. Almost at the same time when Ning Cheng dodged to the side, a dark shadow with a fishy smell swept past Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's speed was extremely fast, and in just a short time, he had already rushed out of the gravel field. But when he looked back, he found that the monstrous beast had not followed him. Ning Qing finally understood that the gravel field was the territory of the monstrous beast. Ning Qing suppressed the surprise in his heart. He did not expect that he had just entered the Angry Axe Valley, and was able to feel the axe-type killing intent of the Angry Axe Valley. This axe-type intent was much purer than the one he had felt in the Dawn Forest, or rather it was simply incomparable. Not only that, but there was also an axe charm in it. Ning Qing came to understand that the person who had left behind that axe trace in the Dawn Forest must have also come to the Angry Axe Valley. That person's axe-type intent was also comprehended in the Angry Axe Valley. No wonder he had this familiar feeling. At this time the scene was already in a mess. It was a complete mess. Ning Qing, Zhang Shua, and the others had already been pushed away. In fact, he did not care about the other people, since he was blocked by that dignified-looking man, then he would undoubtedly die. Zhang Shua and the others, even if they did not have the time to go in, they would not be in any danger to their lives. Ning Qing slowly got up. As he looked around, he was somewhat puzzled in his heart. Was this the inside of the Angry Axe Valley? How come he could not even see a trace of the valley? Moreover, there were gravel everywhere. He could not even see the edge of the valley. Not only that, with so many people coming in, he could not even see a single one of them, not to mention Zhang Shua and the others who were with him. At this time, he suddenly saw two essence-building cultivators rushing into the mist. Unexpectedly they were not pushed away like that dignified-looking man. Ning Cheng's heart was immediately moved. He eagerly said to Zhang Shua and the others who were at his side, "Hurry up and follow me inside. If we get separated, then we can find an opportunity to meet again in the Angry Axe Valley. Hurry up and go in. If we are late then we will not be able to go in. There are spiritual grasses and strange treasures everywhere." At this time Ning Cheng was rushing forward, while shouting and shouting. If he did not take advantage of this situation, then he would really be a fool. After seeing Ning Cheng take out his spear, this monstrous beast did not even have half a shred of scruples as it rushed towards Ning Cheng. At this moment, in the entire Angry Axe Valley, there was no one who was looking for spiritual grasses and treasures, and also did not look for the ancient immortal cave. Perhaps other than those with low strength, there was only Ning Cheng alone. "Ning Cheng, how old are you this year?" This dignified-looking man suddenly turned to Ning Cheng and asked. Chapter 126. Yuing was hiding in a hidden rock cave, while holding a ring in her hand, and did not dare to move. She was brought in by the flow of the crowd, as such she simply could not resist even the slightest bit. After Yuing entered the Angry Axe Valley, she knew that she had to find a place to hide, and could not casually go out. At the same time, she also prayed that no one would find this place, otherwise with her chi-gathering 6th level cultivation, it would be a dead end for her. What Yuing did not expect was that after she entered the rock cave, the first thing she saw was a skeleton, and in front of the skeleton was a ring. Yuing immediately grabbed the ring in her hands. After all, she had stayed in the Clear Heart Academy and the Falling Star Academy. She knew that she was definitely lucky this time, as she was able to obtain a storage ring in her hands. A full 2 days passed by. Yuing, in addition to finding some snacks to eat in her storage bag, did not dare to go out and look around. The bursts of monstrous beasts roaring outside made her feel palpitations and fear. After 2 days, she dared to use her thoughts to grind the storage ring in her hand. What made her pleasantly surprised was that the storage ring in her hand was unexpectedly very easy to open. The things inside the ring made her heart completely unable to calm down. Yuing used her pitiful knowledge of array formations, and once again hid the entrance to the cave, and even found a large boulder to block the entrance to the cave. She once again returned to the rock cave, and carefully cultivated, while waiting for the Angry Axe Valley to close. Ning Ching suddenly opened his eyes. He felt a huge axe shadow exploding into his spiritual sense. At this time Ning Ching did not even think about it, as he raised his hand and punched out with his axe fist. The axe fist did not explode into any of the great axe shadows, but the axe-type killing intent that was generated from his thoughts exploded onto the invisible great axe shadows, and in his sea of consciousness which had not yet formed a huge explosion. After this explosion, Ning Cheng was directly thrown dozens of meters away, as he spat out a mouthful of blood and slammed into a huge rock wall. Ning Qing immediately sat down cross-legged, although he was not killed by this axe shadow, but he could feel the terrible power of this axe shadow. The killing intent of the axe shadow continued to form in Ning Cheng's consciousness, as the surrounding spiritual qi continued to gather. Even Ning Qing himself did not know that he was not only comprehending and perfecting the axe shadow in his consciousness, but his cultivation was also constantly rising, and rising again. Ning Qing did not open his eyes, but he could feel that the spiritual qi that was gathering towards him contained an aura that he had never come into contact with before. This aura of spirit qi was even purer than the spirit qi he felt at the gate of the immortal abode at the bottom of the cold river. However, this aura was too thin, so thin that it was almost non-existent. Even if this kind of aura was thin to the point that it was almost non-existent, Ning Cheng's cultivation still continued to rise. His cultivation had advanced from the true condensation third level to the middle stage of the true condensation third level, late stage. A clear and desolate axe shadow finally took shape in his spiritual sense, forming into an axe that was hard to describe in words. This axe intent was so formidable that Ning Cheng could not wait to immediately stand up and chop it down with his axe. After this axe intent was completely formed in his consciousness, his cultivation also directly broke through the shackles from the late stage of true condensation third level, and directly broke through to the true condensation fourth level. Ning Cheng gave a long roar and suddenly stood up. At this time he could clearly see that there was a skeleton lying a few dozen meters away from him. Ning Cheng knew that he was also blown away from that place a moment ago. Ning Cheng once again slowly walked to the front of this skeleton, and found a golden axe in front of this skeleton. The axe light was nearly half a meter wide, and was completely golden in color. Perhaps it was because of the erosion caused by the axe intent in the Angry Axe Valley, but this golden axe did not have any trace of being handcrafted. It was as if it was a naturally formed axe. The clothes of this skeleton had already turned to ash, and a storage bag had long since decayed. Even the things inside the storage bag no longer existed, only a golden buckle was lying under the palm of this skeleton. Ning Cheng picked up this axe, and saw that there were a few words engraved on the handle of the axe, Lan Yuchen's golden axe. Ning Cheng could see that this axe was just a best quality artifact. He had already guessed that this Lan Yuchen should have come to the Angry Axe Valley to comprehend the axe intent, but what was different from him was that this Lan Yuchen had his own axe. Thinking that when he had come to this place a moment ago, a terrifying axe shadow had suddenly appeared in his spiritual sense, Ning Cheng already understood how Lan Yuchen had fallen. Lan Yuchen had also come to this place, but he was not able to block that axe shadow. As a result, the axe shadow of the Angry Axe Valley had blasted into his Zifu, and finally fell here. After understanding this point, Ning Cheng even felt some fear in his heart. If he had not comprehended that trace of axe intent in the Dawn Forest, then at this time, wouldn't he have already fallen? Ning Cheng put aside Lan Yuchen's golden great axe. He had obtained an axe, although the grade of this axe was very low, but it would allow him to have some power to protect himself in this place. Thinking of the source of drinking water, Ning Cheng felt that he should bury Lan Yuchen's bones. He blasted a hole in the ground, and put Lan Yuchen's bones into a jade box, and then put the jade box into the hole. Before burying the hole, Ning Cheng once again picked up the golden buckle. There was a line of words engraved on the buckle: "Tell my husband Yuchen to be careful outside, his wife Miao Shu is looking forward to it day and night." Ning Cheng's heart was somewhat sad. This golden buckle should have been given to Lan Yuchen by his wife Miao Shu. His wife's meaning was that she was looking forward to her husband returning to her side as soon as possible, to live and cultivate together with her. But she did not think that her husband, who was trying to comprehend the axe-type killing intent in the Angry Axe Valley, would unexpectedly fall in this place. Ning Cheng sighed. He remembered an ancient poem that he had once learned, "Pitiful Bones by the Indefinite River," still in the dreams of the people in their boudoir. Compared to Lan Yuchen, wasn't he also the same? Ji Luofei was still waiting for him in the God Wind Academy. He absolutely could not be like Lan Yuchen, and let the people who were waiting for him look forward to it without any hope. Ning Cheng put the buckle back into the jade box, and then filled up the hole. This buckle was the proof of love between Lan Yuchen and his wife Miao Shu. As such, there was no need to take it away. Ning Qing once again grabbed the golden great axe. As the majestic killing intent once again poured into his mind, Ning Qing suddenly leapt up, as the great axe in his hands came crashing down. A golden great axe shadow appeared out of thin air, and in a flash cut through everything in front of the great axe, bringing with it an imposing manner, as it swept away all the killing intent in the surroundings. At this moment, the great axe shadow was as if it wanted to cut through the blue dome of the sky. The imposing manner was extremely fierce. Just like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves, the desolate and sharp killing intent was blasted out by the great axe in Ning Cheng's hands. When this great axe shadow was blasted out, it was exactly the same as the traces of the axe shadow that Ning Cheng had comprehended before, but when this great axe shadow took shape and gathered its power, this great axe shadow already had Ning Cheng's own emotions and trajectory. Bang! The golden great axe shadow exploded on the huge stone wall. As it issued an astonishing explosion, the surrounding stones splashed everywhere. The huge hard stone wall was blasted open by this great axe shadow, leaving a deep mark on it. Such a powerful great axe, Ning Qing felt that this great axe was several times more powerful than the spear intent that he had comprehended before. This great axe had such a strong axe-killing intent, it must be given a name. Ning Qing could not think of a better name for it, but thinking that this axe was the first type of axe intent that he had comprehended in the Angry Axe Valley, moreover with its formidable imposing manner, it was able to carve out a deep scar in the Angry Axe Valley, so he simply called it the Angry Axe First Move, the First Trace. Angry Axe First Trace, this name looked very simple, but after Ning Qing thought of this name, he was extremely fond of it. He held the great axe in his hands, and at this moment his heart was filled with a strong self-confidence. He had not refined this great axe, but it was still able to display such a formidable might. Once he refined this great axe, and used all of his strength to blast out the first trace, just how terrifying would it be? In the future when he obtained an even more formidable axe, just how powerful would its might be? Ning Qing did not immediately refine the great axe in his hands. It was not until this moment that he had the time to observe the place he was in. This was a deep and long valley. Ning Qing did not know when he came in, nor did he know how he came in. This deep valley was filled with an incomparably formidable axe-type killing intent. This kind of axe charm was constantly circling around him, allowing his comprehension of the axe intent to continue to sublimate, and then sublimate again. Ning Qing could feel the surrounding axe charm, and was even more delighted. He decided to first refine the golden great axe in his hands, and then slowly comprehend the axe-type killing intent in the Angry Axe Valley. Even if he could not obtain anything in the Angry Axe Valley, as long as he could comprehend the axe-type killing intent, for him, the harvest would be huge. Not to mention that the Angry Axe Valley also had a much better spiritual chi for cultivation, although this kind of spiritual chi was very thin. Refining a best quality artifact was not difficult for Ning Qing, but what made Ning Qing pleasantly surprised, was that after he refined the golden great axe in his hands, he unexpectedly obtained a new piece of information. Inside this great axe, there was a detailed explanation of killing intent. Killing intent and magic techniques had an essential difference. Killing intent was a magic weapon or a magic technique or even an origin power derived from it. A person who was able to control a formidable killing intent could even destroy all obstacles with their own killing intent. Whether it was sword intent, spear intent, or axe intent, all of them were extensions of killing intent, and belonged to the category of killing intent. But killing intent was also divided into high and low levels. Not only were there high and low levels, but there were also 5 realms of killing intent. When one could initially feel the killing intent, and was able to use the killing intent, this was the initial stage of the killing intent. Ning Qing knew that when he was in the Dawn Forest and saw the spear marks and the axe marks, and was able to comprehend the axe fist, he could already feel the killing intent. The killing intent's second realm of the small accomplishment was able to stimulate one's own killing intent through one's own magic weapon against the enemy, forming the initial stage of the killing power. Ning Qing understood that he had also surpassed the realm of the small accomplishment. When he was fighting against Meng Yujing, he was able to comprehend the spear technique, which showed that he had already reached the realm of the small accomplishment of the killing intent. The killing intent's third realm of the large accomplishment was able to stimulate one's own killing intent to form a kind of killing power. This kind of killing power would not only put one in an advantageous position, but would also be able to suppress and bind the opponent. Ning Cheng heaved a sigh, before he had comprehended the angry axe, the first trace. Moreover, when he blasted out with his axe, he had already reached the large accomplishment of the axe-type killing intent. The killing intent's fourth realm of the bright connection. Once one reached this realm, when one's killing intent arose, the killing power would be able to move freely, and could be easily grasped. The killing intent's fifth realm of the small accomplishment, transforming mortal, was extremely vague. It could be said that for a cultivator in this realm, the killing intent would be omnipresent. Chapter 127. Ning Cheng did not find it strange. His meridians had already been remolded by the mysterious yellow origin, and he also had the opportunity to come to the Angry Axe Valley. As such, it was normal for his killing intent to reach the large success stage. Moreover, through his understanding of the killing intent, he could vaguely feel that once his killing intent reached the realm of transformation, then it would give birth to another kind of thing. As for what it was, he was still unable to understand it. Ning Cheng did not care about these realms. He had the mysterious yellow origin in his body. If he could not quickly comprehend the killing intent, then he would truly be a waste. Directly inserting the golden great axe onto his back, Ning Cheng once again stood up, and walked towards the depths of the Angry Axe Valley. The traces of the axe charm in the Angry Axe Valley made Ning Cheng unable to stop his footsteps. When his comprehension and experience once again reached an extreme point, another splitting void axe shadow exploded in his mind. This time Ning Cheng was already prepared. He raised his hand and grabbed the golden great axe on his back, and chopped out with his axe. Angry axe, the first trace. This was the first axe trace killing intent that he had comprehended in the Angry Axe Valley. At the same time that he chopped out with his axe, he also sent out an axe trace in his mind. Boom! This invisible axe trace and the axe trace in Ning Cheng's mind collided with each other, causing Ning Cheng to directly fly out. Ning Cheng felt a sharp pain in his zifu. He immediately spouted out a few mouthfuls of blood, and once again flew out upside down. But this time Ning Cheng was not the same as before. He quickly jumped up, and once again chopped out with the great axe in his hands. This was the axe trace that had exploded in his mind a moment ago. The golden axe shadow that this axe brought out was no longer just a line in the sky, but under the golden axe shadow it formed a huge whirlpool, just like a tornado. The tornado-style axe-type killing intent completely gathered the killing force within a radius of several feet, condensing it into a single point, and then exploded on top of the cliff in the valley. Boom boom. An even more violent and terrifying explosion resounded. On top of that incomparably hard cliff, it formed a huge whirlpool. No, rather it was the great axe that had blasted out a huge crater. The shape of the stone pit was like a funnel, and the inside of it was cut by the axe-type killing intent like a smooth mirror. It did not have even half a single edge or corner. It was precisely the effect of the axe-type killing intent a moment ago. Ning Cheng stood with his great axe in his hand, as a heroic spirit surged in his chest. This great axe was even more imposing than the previous one. Moreover, it was condensed into a single point. Even if it was a cultivator in the essence-building realm, if they were to be hit by this great axe, it would be difficult for them to keep their life. This is my angry axe's second form, Whirlwind. Ning Cheng's voice reverberated throughout the huge axe valley. Ning Cheng's heart was filled with excitement and joy. He had only entered the Angry Axe Valley for a short 10 days, and not only had he advanced to the true condensation 4th level, but he had also comprehended the real killing move. If he continued, what would his achievements be when he left the valley in the future? With an incomparably excited mood, Ning Cheng once again moved towards the valley. But this time, he had only walked a dozen meters away, when an incomparably powerful suppressive force spread over, causing Ning Cheng to quickly stop. He was sure that if he dared to ignore this suppressive force, and continued to move forward, then he could be thrown out at any time. If he was thrown out of this place, then at most he would have to come back, but if he was thrown out of the Angry Axe Valley, then he might have to face the soul search of a powerhouse in the soul essence realm. Ning Cheng once again sat down. He wanted to adapt to this place first, and then continue to move forward. But after Ning Qing sat down, he felt that the pressure was getting bigger and bigger. He subconsciously grabbed the ground, but what he felt was an icy coldness. Ning Qing was surprised for a moment, then immediately grabbed a stone the size of a soccer ball. As his spiritual consciousness swept into the stone, he was immediately shocked. He casually grabbed it, and unexpectedly caught it in his hand was an exotic desolate extreme essence. Not only was it an exotic desolate extreme essence, but it was also dark silver in color. After so many years of hard work, Ning Qing was not completely clueless about it. The exotic desolate extreme essence in his hand was a top-quality artifact crafting material, and was an extremely rare existence. Exotic desolate extreme essence was originally a meteorite in the starry sky. This kind of meteorite would fall on a certain planet, and would slowly form under a specific environment for a long time. This kind of exotic desolate extreme essence was divided into different colors. Khaki was a rank 8 artifact crafting material, dark silver was a rank 9 artifact crafting material, and silver was an artifact crafting material that surpassed rank 9. Artifact crafting material that surpassed rank 9, Ning Qing had only seen it in some introductions. As for what use it had, he knew nothing about it. But the exotic desolate extreme essence in his hand was already dark silver in color. In other words, this was a rare rank 9 artifact crafting material, which was priceless. Ning Qing once again searched around, and found 4 more pieces of exotic desolate extreme essence. He did not hesitate to put these treasures into his storage bag. Together with the one in his hand, he now had a total of 5 pieces of exotic desolate extreme essence. 2 of them were dark silver in color, 2 were khaki in color, and the last one was unexpectedly silver in color. Ning Qing did not have the time to think about how these exotic desolate extreme essences came to this place, when an even more powerful force directly forced him out. He already knew that this was the axe charm aura of the Angry Axe Valley. Ning Qing wanted to forcibly retreat some distance, to avoid being blown away by the axe charm of the Angry Axe Valley. But under this kind of power, Ning Qing simply did not have any leeway to resist, as he was directly taken out of this place. When Ning Qing sobered up, he found that he was standing on top of a low hill. This was definitely not the place that he had just entered. Ning Qing looked around, and strangely found that there was no entrance to the valley in his line of sight. Ning Qing closed his eyes, as the axe-type killing intent that he had comprehended in the Angry Axe Valley once again became clear to him. After the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, he finally opened his eyes. At this time he vaguely understood the meaning of the Angry Axe Valley. This was a valley that was truly split open by a great axe. This deep valley contained the axe-type killing intent and all kinds of axe charm. But not all people could enter the real Axe Valley. Only by feeling the axe-type killing intent, and after gaining an epiphany, could one unknowingly walk into the Angry Axe Valley. In other words, no one knew the real entrance to the Angry Axe Valley. Only the fated people could go in. But since he possessed the mysterious yellow origin, he was undoubtedly that fated person. That Lan Yuchen was also not simple, but unfortunately, his strength was slightly weaker. After entering the Angry Axe Valley, he was not able to block the first axe-type killing intent. Ning Qing looked around at the surrounding hills, and found that there were only a few rank 1 and 2 spiritual grasses. For these kinds of spiritual grasses, Ning Qing was not interested in wasting his time. A sharp whistling sound attracted Ning Qing's attention. As he swept out with his spiritual sense, he could see several figures rushing towards the source of the sharp whistling sound. There must be some good things here. Ning Qing directly hung the golden axe on his back, and at the same time sped up towards the source of the sharp whistling sound. With his current strength, he could already compete for some of the good things here. Not all the good things could only be found by him. Once other people found something better, he was not the kind of person who would take the initiative to give up the good things to others. If he could compete for it, then he would not be lenient. When Ning Qing arrived, there were already more than a dozen people here. A burst of light fragrance wafted over. These more than a dozen people were surrounding an ice lake that was emitting bursts of cold air. There were 9 pieces of blue mushroom-shaped things floating in the middle of the lake. Ning Qing immediately recognized that this was the mysterious frost zoysia. The mysterious frost zoysia was a rank 5 spiritual grass, and could be used to refine the profound replenishment pill. This was a top-quality healing pill. Even if a soul essence realm expert was seriously injured, the profound replenishment pill would also have an excellent effect. As long as it was not a broken limb or a dismembered body, this kind of healing pill would allow a cultivator to heal their injuries in a very short time. Moreover, the mysterious frost zoysha also had a more important characteristic, that is, even if it was not refined into a profound replenishment pill, it would still have a very good curative effect. This point for more than 90% of the cultivators here was the most important point. Because most of the people here did not know how to refine pills, including Ning Cheng, he also did not know how to refine pills. When Ning Cheng arrived, no one cared about it. There were already more than a dozen people here, so it would not be strange for there to be another one. Even if there were 10,000 people here, when it came to snatch the mysterious frost zoysha, only a few of them would be able to snatch it. Not to mention that this ice lake was extremely cold. Even if it was not cold, with such a long distance, if they were a bit slower, then they would not even be able to drink the soup. Ning Cheng looked at the people at the edge of the lake. There was only one essence-building cultivator, while the rest were all true condensation cultivators. His cultivation was not the lowest, nor was it the highest. This made Ning Cheng calm down in his heart. When they competed in speed in the ice lake, he would absolutely not be any worse than the others. He had the experience of the cold river, coupled with his rich and vigorous true essence, although he only had the cultivation of true condensation realm, but his sea of consciousness had already formed, so why would he be afraid that he would not be able to snatch the mysterious frost zoysha? The mysterious frost zoysha had not yet matured, as such the fragrance was still very faint, but after the mysterious frost zoysha matured, the fragrance would become even more intense. Ning Cheng squeezed himself in the crowd, as he closely stared at the mysterious frost zoysha in the middle of the lake. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the mysterious frost zoysha completely unfolded, and at the same time a rich fragrance spread out. Ning Cheng almost immediately rushed out, but although Ning Cheng was fast, the others were also not slow. There was a strong resistance above the ice lake. As a result, several of the true condensation cultivators who were not vigilant fell into the ice lake. The ice-cold lake water immediately made the few true condensation cultivators who fell into the water unable to bear it. The few true condensation cultivators who fell into the water no longer cared about the mysterious frost zoysha, and hurriedly swam towards the shore. But then a few waves rolled up, and the few true condensation cultivators in a very short time disappeared into the ice lake. Followed by a few splashes of blood, before they disappeared without a trace. Some of the cultivators who did not fall into the ice lake felt their scalps tingle, and hurriedly tried to forcibly increase their flying altitude. A dark shadow sprang out of the ice lake, and brought a cultivator who had already flown high enough into the lake, as a burst of blood splashed out from the lake once again. Some of the cultivators who were terrified, even slowed down their speed. The speed at which they were fighting for the mysterious frost zoysha was slow, but now that there were people who slowed down their speed, it made them even more hopeless. The importance of one's spiritual sense was fully reflected at this moment. The cultivators who had a strong spiritual sense or spiritual consciousness directly appeared at the forefront. As for those who had a weak spiritual sense, they could only fall behind. Ning Cheng's speed was second only to that essence-building cultivator, but was only a little bit slower than that essence-building cultivator. When that essence-building cultivator saw that Ning Cheng was unexpectedly this fast, he looked at Ning Cheng with a puzzled expression. It was only a distance of a few hundred meters, and simply did not take much time. That essence-building cultivator was the first to arrive. He had just stooped down to grab the mysterious frost zoysha, when a splash of water rushed out from the ice lake. That essence-building cultivator was obviously prepared, as he raised his hand and brought out a long sword, and aimed it at the splash of water that rushed out. At this time, Ning Cheng had already arrived. Chapter 128. After Ning Cheng arrived, he did not act like the previous essence-building cultivator, and immediately went to snatch the mysterious frost zoyshas. He grabbed the golden axe on his back and swung it at the frozen lake. After he swung his axe down, he simultaneously followed behind to grab the mysterious frost zoyshas. Ayo! An extremely muffled scream erupted from under Ning Cheng's great axe, followed by a huge splash, while at the same time a streak of blood quickly overflowed into the distance. At this time Ning Cheng had already grabbed 4 mysterious frost zoysias, and simultaneously turned around and walked away. There were 9 stalks of mysterious frost zoysias here. He was sure that he would not be able to snatch that many, 4 stalks would be enough. That essence-building cultivator immediately repelled the monstrous beast at the bottom of the water, and simultaneously picked up 2 mysterious frost zoysias. The remaining 3 mysterious frost zoysias were snatched away by the 3 true condensation 9th-level cultivators. With the 4 mysterious frost zoysias, Ning Cheng landed on the shore with his fastest speed, while at the same time he was secretly rejoicing in his heart. When he swung his axe down, he didn't know where the monstrous beast was at. He just chose the most advantageous position for a sneak attack, and it turned out that his guess was right. Ning Cheng was just about to leave, when 3 true condensation cultivators blocked Ning Cheng's way. 2 were at true condensation 7th level and 1 was at true condensation 9th level. Leave behind the mysterious frost zoysia that you obtained, and then you can go. A short true condensation 7th level cultivator stared at Ning Cheng and spoke with contempt. Ning Cheng's mouth showed a hint of a sneer. He knew that he would not be able to walk away so easily. He had thought that the first person to look for him would be the early-stage essence-building cultivator, but he did not think that the essence-building cultivator would not come looking for him. Rather it was the 2 true condensation cultivators who came looking for him. Not only did they want him to leave behind the mysterious frost zoysias, but they also wanted him to leave behind all of them. Were you the one who planted my mysterious frost zoysias? Ning Cheng spoke in a sarcastic tone. No, but you are just a trivial true condensation 4th level cultivator, and you want to take away 4 mysterious frost zoysias by yourself. Don't you think that your table manners are too unsightly? That true condensation 7th level cultivator frowned. This was the Angry Axe Valley. As such, Ning Cheng did not conceal his own cultivation. In this place, there were powerhouses talking. He could not wait to raise his own cultivation to a higher level, so why would he conceal his cultivation? With just a glance, the opposite party could see that he was at true condensation 4th level. As such, it was not surprising. What if I don't want to give it to you? Ning Cheng opened his hand, and the golden great axe appeared in his hand. The true condensation 9th level cultivator, who had not spoken, looked at the golden great axe in Ning Cheng's hands, and spoke in a light voice. Even this axe is filled with the stench of copper. It seems that you are very rich. Presumably you have a lot of gold coins, to be able to forge this kind of axe. If this true condensation 9th level cultivator spoke with some scruples, then this true condensation 7th level cultivator was even more straightforward. Today you have to give it to me. Even if you do not want to give it to me, if you want to live for a few more hours, then hand over the mysterious frost zoysia. Ning Cheng was too lazy to speak any more nonsense, as the golden great axe in his hands immediately chopped out with a golden axe shadow, Angry Axe, the first trace. He was just looking for someone to try out his first move on. Now that someone had presented themselves to him, he would not hesitate at all. Ning Cheng had only chopped out a single axe shadow, but the surrounding people immediately felt as if the entire space around them had turned into a golden-colored axe shadow that filled the entire sky. A strong killing intent instantly swept away all the killing power in the surroundings. Some of the cultivators at the edge of the battlefield were so shocked that they retreated in succession. In the face of such a sky full of axe shadows, it gave the people a feeling that there was only a single axe trace. This axe trace seemed as if it came from the edge of the sky. No matter where you tried to hide, you would still be drawn into this axe shadow that filled the sky full of killing power. Even the essence-building cultivator who was standing on the side and watching the fight had a look of shock in his eyes. If this axe shadow was directed at him, then he would not know how to resist it. This kind of axe shadow that filled the sky was definitely an axe intent. Moreover, it was an axe intent that had reached the large success realm. A true condensation 4th level cultivator who had already reached the large success realm of the axe intent. Just how terrifying was this? The true condensation 7th level cultivator who bore the brunt of this attack was even more horrified. It was not until this moment that he understood that he had provoked an existence that he should not have provoked. At this time it was already too late to beg for mercy, he could only hastily bring out his round shield. Unfortunately, the round shield had not yet been fully activated, when it was directly struck by the golden-colored axe trace. Ka! An ear-piercing sound erupted. The round shield that had not been activated was directly split into two halves by Ning Cheng's golden great axe trace. As a mist of blood sprayed out, this true condensation 7th level cultivator did not even have the strength to fight back, and was beheaded. The other two true condensation cultivators were struck by Ning Cheng's axe shadow, and simultaneously flew out, as they spat out a few mouthfuls of blood in the air, as they fell to the ground. But they were only affected by the axe shadow, and were not seriously injured. They immediately jumped up again, as they stared at Ning Cheng with incomparable horror. What kind of cultivation was this? How could there be someone with the cultivation of true condensation 4th level who was so heaven-defying? Ning Cheng directly hung the great axe on his back, as he coldly stared at the two people and said, "Get lost, don't let this young master see you again." The two true condensation cultivators did not dare to say even half a word, as they quickly turned around and walked away, and in a twinkling of an eye disappeared without a trace. Ning Cheng picked up the storage bag on the ground, and used a ball of fire to burn the corpse of the true condensation cultivator that he had killed, and then slowly left. At this time, there was no one else following behind Ning Cheng, as they scattered in all directions. Even that essence-building cultivator also changed his direction, and disappeared in a twinkling of an eye. Ning Cheng was in a very good mood. The angry axe's first style was unexpectedly so terrifying, it was almost able to instantly kill a true condensation 7th level cultivator. Although Ning Cheng knew that this was because that true condensation 7th level cultivator did not put him in his eyes, and was caught unprepared by him, but if they really fought, Ning Cheng believed that he would be able to kill that true condensation 7th level cultivator in just a few seconds. Perhaps it was because there were too many cultivators that entered the Angry Axe Valley, but Ning Cheng almost did not see any high-level spiritual grasses along the way. There were many good things inside the Angry Axe Valley. Ning Cheng did not have even half a shred of doubt. He had only come in for a short period of time, but his harvest was already much more than what he had accumulated outside. Ning Cheng was just thinking about whether he could bring out a flight-type magical weapon inside, when he heard a scream. This was definitely a high-decibel scream. If it was just a scream then it would not have mattered, but Ning Cheng also felt that this scream was somewhat familiar. He immediately swept out with his spiritual sense, and sure enough, a familiar face appeared in his spiritual sense. It turned out to be Yuing. For Yuing to enter the Angry Axe Valley, Ning Cheng did not have even half a shred of doubt. At that time, if she did not enter the Angry Axe Valley then it would have been a strange thing. That kind of surging tide of people, even if it was a true condensation cultivator, they would not be able to resist, let alone a trivial Yuing. But at this time Yuing no longer had that kind of quiet and charming appearance. Her hair was disheveled, her face was covered in black ash, even the color of her clothes could not be distinguished. But these things were not important. What was important was that her upper garment was directly torn off by a true condensation 6th level cultivator, exposing her white skin and a pink chest pocket. It seems that the reason why Yuing screamed a moment ago was because her clothes were torn off. If Yu Yuanhua was here, he would definitely go all out against those two true condensation cultivators. Ning Cheng turned around, and quickly landed on the periphery, while he spoke in a sarcastic voice. A true condensation 6th level cultivator, bullying a little girl with the cultivation of Qi Gathering Realm, do you still have any shame? You are Big Brother Ning. Yuing called out in surprise, she even rubbed her eyes. She had actually met Ning Cheng, she had seen Ning Cheng's strength with her own eyes, and knew that he was absolutely powerful. After a while, she came to her senses, and quickly ran behind Ning Cheng. Her panic-stricken expression finally calmed down a bit. Regardless of Ning Cheng's character, Ning Cheng was still a person that she knew. At least he was much better than this fiendish true condensation 6th level cultivator in front of her. A trivial true condensation 4th level ant. This true condensation 6th level cultivator had not even finished his words, when Ning Cheng's golden great axe had already chopped towards him. When this true condensation 6th level cultivator saw the golden great axe shadow chopping towards him, the formidable axe-type killing intent immediately shook his mind. He simply did not have the ability to block Ning Cheng's great axe. So strong. This true condensation 6th level cultivator did not even have enough time to retreat, as he spoke out those two words in despair, and then his body was split in half by the golden great axe. Ning Cheng took back the golden great axe, as he felt that this great axe was even more useful. If he had used the broken spear, then perhaps he would have to spend a bit more effort. But now, this, angry axe's first trace, was settled in one go. Big brother Ning, thank you, if not for you, I. Yuing at this time felt extreme fear. She did not even dare to imagine what would happen if her clothes were torn apart. What would the result be? Ning Cheng stared at Yuing for a long time. When Yuing suddenly remembered that the clothes on her chest had been torn apart, she immediately became anxious and fearful. Initially when Ning Cheng and Su Zhu were together, she had heard about it from Yong Gu Yun, moreover she had also seen the scene at that time. Ning Cheng even wanted to sleep with Su Zhu. Would he also want to? The more Yuing thought about it, the more afraid she became. This was the same as driving the tiger from the front door and letting the wolf in from the back door. If he really wanted to do something to her, then other than dying, there was no other way for her. Ning Cheng was so powerful, that even if she died, she would not be able to die. That person a moment ago was obviously a true condensation expert, but in front of Ning Cheng, he was not even able to pass through a single move. She quickly pulled up the torn clothes on her chest, and looked up cautiously at Ning Cheng, but saw that Ning Cheng was frowning. Her hands trembled, and the clothes that she had pulled up once again fell down. The pink undergarment and half of her snow-white skin were once again exposed. Yu Ying's whole body trembled slightly, but she did not dare to cry out loud. At this time Ning Cheng spoke up, I really can't figure it out. Your hair is disheveled and your face is covered in dust. You look just like an old woman. Was that person a moment ago blind? Why did he want to tear off your clothes? Ning Cheng really could not figure it out. Yuing was very beautiful. She was not even the slightest bit inferior to Meng Yujing, this he admitted, but no matter how beautiful she was, Yuing was still a green pepper. If a green pepper was clean, then it would look somewhat pleasing to the eye. But at this time Yuing, even if she was an impatient person, she would not take off her clothes in this place, right? So he asked this sentence not to tease Yuing, but to know why that true condensation 6th level cultivator would want to pull off Yu Ying's clothes. Ah! Yuing looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. She did not think that Ning Cheng, who had been staring at her for a long time, would unexpectedly say such a sentence. Chapter 129. After understanding Ning Cheng's words, Yuing felt even more indignant. She knew that her appearance was not worse than anyone else's. After she started cultivating, her appearance became more and more refined and beautiful, but Ning Cheng actually said that with her appearance, no one would look at her. At this moment, Yu Ying's face turned red. She had completely forgotten the fear that she had a moment ago. She just wanted to refute Ning Cheng, but she did not know how to refute Ning Cheng. She was just a young girl, and was extremely confident and satisfied with her appearance, and was also very concerned about it. But today, someone actually said that she looked like this, which made people not interested in her. Ning Cheng was too lazy to care about what Yuing was thinking, as he threw a mirror towards Yuing and said, look at yourself in the mirror, and then clean it up a bit. Yuing took the mirror and looked at herself, and immediately screamed out loud. At this moment, where was she even half a shadow of her original self? She looked completely like a little beggar with disheveled hair. Oh, or it could be said that other than her torn chest pocket, there was nothing else that could attract people's desire. No wonder Ning Cheng said those words. Big brother Ning, Yuing no longer used her hands to cover her torn clothes, as she nervously rubbed her clothes and said. Ning Cheng waved his hand and said, why did that person tear your clothes? After your clothes are torn, you can still look at them. But before that, a true condensation 6th level cultivator would not be so bored, right? Hearing the words after her clothes are torn, you can still look at them, Yuing became a bit nervous. She subconsciously pulled up her torn clothes again. But when she heard Ning Cheng's words, her face once again turned red. Couldn't this person speak a bit tactfully? No, Ewing immediately remembered what she had done before, and immediately looked up and said, "Big brother Ning, I understand what is going on." Ning Cheng nodded and said, "Let me hear it." He believed that there was definitely a reason. If there was no reason, then that true condensation cultivator from before was just too anxious. Or rather, that true condensation cultivator's vision was too good. Even with Yu Ying's appearance, he could still see that Ewing was a beauty. It must be this. Ewing quickly put her hand into her chest pocket and pulled out a ring. The originally somewhat tempting scene was immediately diverted by the ring. Ning Cheng reached out and grabbed the ring. The ring still had a trace of the girl's fragrance and warmth. Ning Cheng did not care about the little green pepper like Ewing, as he swept his spiritual sense into the ring, and was immediately moved. It turned out to be a storage ring. Not only did it contain some upper-grade spirit stones, there were also many jade slips, elixirs, magic weapons and so on. As soon as Ewing took out the ring, she immediately felt a little lost. Once she took out this ring, she would definitely not be able to get it back. If this ring remained in her hands, she would definitely be able to advance to a higher level. At this time, seeing Ning Cheng paying attention to the ring, she added a sentence, "When I obtained this ring, I had been wearing it on my hand. Later, when I left the cave, I wanted to find something to eat, but then I remembered that this ring cannot be worn on the finger. So I took it off and put it on my chest. I didn't expect this person to see it." Ning Cheng handed the ring back to Ewing and said, "You can put this ring back where you put it. It really is not appropriate to wear it on your hand." Ewing quickly waved her hand and said, "No, I don't want it. Big brother Ning, you saved my life. I will give this ring to Big brother Ning." Thinking about it, she felt that the reason was not enough and explained, "My cultivation is too low, so this ring is useless to me." Ning Cheng faintly smiled and said, "Everyone wants good things, but I only want things that belong to me, or are fated to get them. You can put it away. I don't need your ring." Not to mention that Ning Cheng saw Ruolan's shadow in Ewing. Even if it was an unrelated person, as long as they did not offend him or annoy him, Ning Cheng would not try to snatch their things. What's more, Ning Cheng also appreciated this pair of brother and sister. A ring for many true condensation cultivators. At that time it was a luxury. They would even risk their lives to obtain it. But for Ning Cheng, he was not in such an urgent mood. He came from Earth, and was not used to robbing others. He had his own moral bottom line. Big brother Ning. Ewing held the ring in her hand. As she looked at Ning Cheng with a puzzled expression, she did not know whether what Ning Cheng said was true or false. "You can put away your ring, I'm leaving." Ning Cheng spoke, as his spiritual sense swept out towards the cave not far away. There were traces of a broken concealment restriction outside the cave. Presumably the concealment restriction of the cave was broken, and Ewing just happened to come across it. Ewing hesitated for a moment, and then hesitantly said, "Big brother Ning, if you have something to say then just say it, don't hesitate. When you and I were competing for the pearl hair clip, you were very good at talking." Ning Cheng smiled. Yu Ying's face turned slightly red, but this time she did not hesitate and said, "Big brother Ning, I want to follow behind you, until the Angry Axe Valley opens." Ning Cheng slightly frowned. Bringing along a burden was not a good thing. If there were only true condensation cultivators here, then it would have been fine, but this time, in addition to the true condensation cultivators, there were also essence-building cultivators. He did not refuse. He really did not have the heart to refuse. Once he refused, then Ewing would be alone in the Angry Axe Valley. It would definitely be a dead end. For her to be able to live until today, it was already a very difficult thing. "Big brother Ning, I promise that I will not drag you down. As long as the Angry Axe Valley opens, I will be able to go to the 7-Star Academy," Ewing eagerly explained. When Ning Cheng heard Ewing say that she would be able to go to the 7-Star Academy after coming out, he couldn't help but sneer in his heart. "Well, you can first change your clothes, and then follow behind me. When we come across the pool, you can wash yourself." Ning Cheng finally agreed to Yu Ying's request. When Ewing heard Ning Qing agree, she quickly agreed, and directly took a few steps back, and in a place where she could see Ning Qing, she quickly took off her clothes. She was really afraid that Ning Qing would turn around and walk away, and then she would have to hide in the cave alone. After a moment, Ewing changed her clothes, and tidied up her hair, although she still looked a bit embarrassed, but it was much better than before. "Let's go." Ning Qing brought out his own airship, and said to Ewing. Ewing boarded the airship, and said in a somewhat surprised voice, "Big brother Ning, do you still have a flight-type magical weapon?" Ning Qing had just taken control of the airship in the air, and had not even had the time to fly at full speed, when a lightning-fast shadow directly rushed over. Ning Qing, at this time, did not even bother to answer Yu Ying's words. At the same time he punched out, he also tightly hugged Ewing with his other hand. Boom! The shadow's formidable power directly collided with Ning Cheng's fist. The formidable power collided with Ning Cheng's fist, and immediately threw Ning Qing out of the airship. Ning Qing quickly circulated his true essence, and cast the Imperial Wind technique in the air, and glided down. When the shadow rushed over, Ewing was simply not able to react. She felt that she was suddenly hugged by Ning Qing, and was immediately surprised in her heart. However, she did not struggle. She knew that in the face of Ning Cheng's strength, even if she struggled, it would be useless. A moment later, she knew what the reason was. A shadow came over, and threw Ning Qing out of the airship. Even the airship's artifact was blown away. If not for Ning Qing protecting her, she might have fallen to her death. Ewing quickly hugged Ning Qing. Her heart was thumping wildly. She was not shy, but was worried that Ning Qing would suddenly fall to the ground. Fortunately, Ning Qing did not let her down, and using the Imperial Wind technique, he slowly landed on the ground. What a beast! It even took away my airship. When Ning Qing landed on the ground, he found that his airship did not come down. At this time he finally understood that one could not casually fly in this place. Feeling a strong softness, Ning Qing bowed his head and said, "Ewing, you can let go." "Ah." Ewing quickly let go of her hand, and said with some embarrassment, "I'm sorry, big brother Ning." Ning Qing smiled and said, "There is nothing to be sorry about, of course I had to bring you down. Before I did not know that one could not fly in this place. If I had known earlier, I would not have flown." Ewing became even more embarrassed and said, "No, big brother Ning, I am sorry because I thought that you suddenly hugged me, too." Ning Qing suddenly thought of Su Zhu's matter. Ewing thought that way. It was definitely because of the influence of Su Zhu's matter. He glanced at Ewing. This time he was too lazy to explain. Ewing was a very simple girl. When Ning Qing saw Ewing for the first time, he knew that although she looked a lot smarter than Annie, but the simplicity in her bones could not be changed. It was because she was influenced by people like Lu Shui and Yong Gu Yun that she was like this. Seeing that Ning Qing just glanced at her, and was too lazy to explain, Ewing became even more terrified in her heart. She was afraid that Ning Qing would get angry, and dump her. Thinking till here, she quickly said, "Big brother Ning should like Su Zhu, that kind of senior apprentice sister. I was just thinking too much." It would have been better if Ewing did not explain, but after explaining, she found that what she said was even more wrong. Fortunately, at this time Ning Qing opened his mouth. "Ewing, sometimes you have to maintain your own view of people and things. If there are people who are trying to influence your view, you can go and determine it yourself. The people around you are not saints, they are just some ordinary people who live for their own interests. Who is Su Zhu? I do not know. But I know that she is much better than Yong Gu Yun, at least she is not hypocritical. If you live every day with other people's views, without your own judgment, you will be very tired. Compared to your elder brother, you really are more shrewd, or perhaps you are more sophisticated. But what I want to tell you is, it is easier for your elder brother to make intimate friends, but the people around you are actually more hypocritical." Ewing stared at Ning Qing. She suddenly had a feeling that Ning Qing was not the kind of person that senior apprentice sister Yong Gu Yun had described him to be, rather he was much closer to what her elder brother had described him to be. Chapter 130. Let's go, we can only walk now. This time there are too many people entering the Angry Axe Valley, although the Angry Axe Valley is big, but it would be better to go to a place that others have not been to before. If you follow behind the buttocks of others, you would not even have a chance to eat soup. Ning Cheng was not interested in talking about this topic with Yuing. As he spoke, his footsteps accelerated a lot. Yuing, on seeing this, quickly sped up her pace to follow behind Ning Cheng. She did not dare to fall behind alone. No one had entered the Angry Axe Valley for thousands of years, and everywhere was either a wilderness or a rocky area. There were also some verdant mountain ranges or rivers and lakes, but there was not a single clear path. This time there were too many people entering the Angry Axe Valley, and in some places there were already some faint traces of a path. Ning Cheng walked with Yuing for nearly a day, but he did not even find a single rank 2 spiritual grass. I guess that the people who came here before have already taken all the things. Yuing timidly looked at Ning Cheng and said. Ning Cheng stopped. He could feel a very faint origin aura. It was faintly discernible. The reason why he could think of an origin was because this origin aura and the mysterious yellow bead's origin aura had something in common, which made his heart feel it. Ning Cheng did not understand the meaning of an origin, but because the mysterious yellow bead's mysterious yellow origin allowed him to reshape his meridians, he could vaguely feel that as long as it was an origin, it would be a great thing. Boom! A violent explosion came from afar. Ning Cheng quickly swept out with his spiritual sense. Maybe it was because it was too far away, but his spiritual sense could not sweep anything for a while, but after a while, his spiritual sense was aware of a trace of rich spiritual qi. Another good thing came out. This was Ning Cheng's first thought, otherwise it would be impossible to have such a rich spiritual qi. He withdrew his spiritual sense, and his heart was tangled. There were too many good things in the Angry Axe Valley. Should he follow the origin aura to look for it, or should he go to the place with the explosion of spiritual qi? Big brother Ning, I feel that we should go in that direction. There are even better things. Yuing carefully said, while pointing her hand in the opposite direction of the explosion. She was worried that Ning Cheng would think that she was afraid, so she hesitated for a while before speaking. The direction that Yuing was pointing at was the direction that Ning Cheng sensed a trace of origin. Ning Cheng stared at Yuing in amazement, thinking in his heart, did Yuing also have an origin? Otherwise, how could she sense the direction of the source? Ning Cheng replied absent-mindedly. His spiritual sense had completely covered the entire area. He did not even miss a small area. After half an hour passed by, Ning Cheng suddenly stopped. He stared at a long river not far away. He had already determined in his heart that the origin aura was coming from this river. He did not know where this river led to. He simply could not see the end, but it was very narrow. The narrowest part of the river was only about 5 to 6 meters. Yuing had actually noticed this river a long time ago, but the reason why she noticed this river was not because she felt that there was something good in the river, but because she wanted to enter the river to wash herself. Now that she was together with Ning Cheng, but she still ended up like this, it really made her feel a bit awkward in her heart. I want to enter the river to investigate. You lie on my back, I'll carry you down. After Ning Cheng determined, he immediately spoke to Yuing. No, big brother Ning, I can follow behind you. Yuing quickly spoke. She was not a fool. Once she lay on Ning Cheng's back, after entering the river, her clothes would stick to her body. It would be the same as letting Ning Cheng take advantage of her. No, if you want to come with me then don't talk nonsense, hurry up. Ning Cheng did not have the time to explain to Yuing. When he had snatched the mysterious ice zoisha from the ice lake, he was already clear that the monstrous beasts in the water of the Angry Axe Valley were not any less than the monstrous beasts outside. Oh! Yuing did not dare to continue to refute, and obediently lay on Ning Cheng's back. Even if she had not experienced such a thing, but after Ning Cheng fastened her to his back, she could feel her face burning hot. The aura coming from Ning Cheng's body made her feel somewhat soft. When she was a child, her big brother had also carried her on his back, but she had never felt this kind of feeling before. Although Ning Cheng could feel 2 soft lumps on his back, but he did not care about it. Ji Luofei's chest was much more plump than Yu Ying's. He had carried Ji Luofei on his back for a long time, and was able to endure it. After fastening Ying on his back, Ning Qing immediately rushed into the river. The river here was not as cold as the ice lake, but Ning Qing could still feel a chill invading his bone marrow. While he stimulated his true essence, he quickly swam towards the bottom of the river. Yu Ying's cultivation was worse than Ning Cheng's, so she could feel the invasion of the chill. She subconsciously revolved her true essence to resist it, but Ning Cheng's back was emitting a burst of heat, completely dispersing the chill from her body. So Big Brother Ning was carrying me on his back because of this. Yu Ying felt ashamed of her own thoughts. She did not know that Ning Qing did not mean to carry her on his back. Ning Qing was worried that there were monstrous beasts in the river. If it was only this kind of cold, he would not care about it. This kind of cold, Yu Ying was a qi-gathering 6th level cultivator, she could still resist it. Ning Qing shuttled through the river for the time it took for an incense stick to burn, but did not encounter any monstrous beasts. Ning Qing knew that he might have thought too much. This river was ordinary, and did not have any rich spiritual qi. How could there be monstrous beasts here? That ice lake could grow the mysterious frost zoysia. It was obvious that the spiritual qi was very rich. It was normal for there to be monstrous beasts in such a place. However, since he had already carried Yu Ying on his back, Ning Qing did not intend to put her down. Yu Ying's speed was too slow, it would be faster for him to carry her on his back. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Qing stopped in front of a large reef forest. His spiritual sense swept towards the reef forest. He could vaguely see a concealment array formation. This array formation was very strange. If it was a natural array formation, then it was surrounded by a lot of reef array flags. If it was not a natural array formation, then these reef array flags really did not look like they were artificially refined. This array formation was a rank 4 array formation. Ning Qing was not able to arrange it. The reason why he could see that this was a concealment array formation was because this concealment array formation was somewhat broken. If this array formation was not broken, Ning Qing suspected that this array formation might even have exceeded rank 7. If it really was a rank 7 array formation, then he would not even be able to see it. Ning Qing entered the concealment array formation from the broken place, and unexpectedly found a white jade road paved with jade. Seeing this white jade road, Ning Qing knew that the array formation from before was definitely artificially arranged. A person who was able to arrange an array formation that was similar to a natural array formation, just how powerful was his array formation? Ning Qing took out an array flag, and turned around to block the broken gap. Although his array formation level was low, but with such a low-level array flag blocking the broken place, this array formation could barely be upgraded to a rank 5 array formation. Knowing that there was no danger in this place, Ning Qing put Yu Ying down, and at the same time sent a sound transmission to her. You carefully follow behind me, I estimate that there are some good things inside. Even if Ning Qing did not say it, Yu Ying would not walk around without permission. Ning Qing and Yu Ying walked along this white jade road for nearly 100 meters. When they suddenly felt their whole body become light, the two of them were surprised to find that the surrounding water was completely separated. In front of them, there was a huge water-avoiding pearl suspended in the air. This water was directly separated by the water-avoiding pearl in conjunction with the surrounding array formation. Under the water-avoiding pearl, there was a half-moon-shaped arch door. Above the arch door were two large characters, Han Xiang. Chapter 131. Ning Qing did not feel even half a shred of danger, but he could clearly feel that the origin qi was coming from the crescent-shaped door in front of him. As such, he almost did not hesitate to walk into the crescent-shaped door. After entering the door, they saw that it was not a very big hall. In the front of the hall there was a jade table, and on the jade table there was only a single chair. On the right side of the hall, there was a side door. Ning Qing and Yu Ying walked through the side door, and found a very elegantly decorated room. The inside of the room was set up with an array formation, moreover it was at the bottom of the water, as such there was not even a single speck of dust. A wooden bed was placed in one corner of the room, and on the side of the wooden bed, there was a small dressing table. On the dressing table there was only a mirror, and a comb. Other than that, there was nothing else. The room was very cold. It was obvious that no one had come here for a long time. Big Brother Ning, this is the bottom of the Angry Axe Valley, how can there be a woman's boudoir? Ying, who was following behind Ning Cheng, asked in a strange voice. I guess that when the Angry Axe Valley had just appeared, a woman came here, but then I don't know why she did not go out and stayed here. Ning Cheng replied. He was also guessing. He was more familiar with the Angry Axe Valley than Ying, but he did not know where the owner of this place went. After Ning Cheng replied to Ying's question, he directly put away the mirror on the dressing table. He had already sensed that the origin energy had come from this mirror. Ying also had a kind of intuition that this mirror was good. If Ning Cheng had not taken it away, then she would have definitely taken it away. But she did not think that Ning Cheng, a man, would actually want a mirror. She did not know if he wanted to give it to the woman who was with him in the Moze city. After Ning Cheng put away the mirror, he could no longer feel the origin chi in the room. This made his heart calm down, and at the same time determined that this mirror was the thing that he was looking for. After putting away the mirror, Ning Cheng once again looked around, but did not find anything worthy of his attention. He looked back at Ying and said, Do you want to change your clothes? Ying at this time discovered that all of her clothes were sticking to her body, and there were 2 bulging lumps on her chest, which were extremely conspicuous. Her thin clothes completely revealed her slender thighs. This kind of image appeared in front of Ning Cheng, causing her to subconsciously give out an ah sound. Big Brother Ning, you can go out first, I will change my clothes here. Ning Cheng slightly hesitated before he spoke. Ying, you also have some high-grade spirit stones in your ring. I suggest that you temporarily cultivate here. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Ying no longer cared about changing her clothes, as she nervously stared at Ning Cheng and said, Big Brother Ning, do you really want to leave me here alone? Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, No, your cultivation is too low. I'm going to grab something. When we came here before, I sensed something good in the area where the explosion came from. I don't know if I can make it now, but I still want to go and have a look. Once I get the item, I want to cultivate here as well. When Ying heard Ning Cheng's words, her eyes immediately turned gloomy, although she really did not want to stay here alone, but following behind Ning Cheng would really be a burden. Well, that's good. Big Brother Ning, when you get the item, you must remember to take me with you. I'm a bit scared to stay here alone. Ying was at the Qi Gathering 6th level, but it still could not change the fact that she was a teenage girl. Ning Cheng affirmed, You can rest assured, I'll be back soon. Coming to the Angry Axe Valley was to look for spiritual grasses and materials. Ning Cheng had only been in the Angry Axe Valley for a few days. How could he hide in this place? Moreover, he still had to deal with things that would happen in a few months. He still had not thought of a way to get out of this place. Saying that, Ning Cheng took out an array flag and handed it to Ying. This array flag is a response array flag that I just threw down. You can go out from here. In case something happens to me, you won't have to be locked up in here. Although Ning Cheng was confident that nothing would happen to him, but in case something happened in the Angry Axe Valley, who could be sure? Big Brother Ning, can you not go out? After Ying heard Ning Cheng's words, she immediately spoke with some worry, but she knew that her words were equivalent to nonsense. It was impossible for Ning Cheng not to go out. Ning Cheng quickly left the bottom of the river, and once again returned to the surface. He obviously could not listen to Ying's words and stay inside, not to mention that Ji Luofei was still waiting for him. Even that old man surnamed Kong was like a knife pressing down on his head, making him not dare to relax. If it was Luofei or Ruolan who asked him to stay, then perhaps he would have stayed. However, Luofei and Ruolan would definitely not ask him to stay, as they both understood his thoughts. Thinking until here, Ning Cheng was suddenly startled in his heart. It seemed that he had not thought of Tian Mu Wan for a long time. Or rather, since he had established his relationship with Luofei, he rarely thought of Tian Mu Wan. Did he forget about her? Ning Cheng shook his head, and sped up his speed. Without Ying dragging him down, Ning Cheng's speed had increased by several times. In just 2 hours, Ning Cheng had already arrived at the place where the explosion had occurred. There were already thousands of people here, and there was still a steady stream of people coming in. Ning Cheng's arrival was not abrupt, as such no one paid any attention to him, as all the people were digging holes everywhere. That's right, they were digging holes. The surroundings had already been dug to the point of being unrecognizable, but the sounds of explosions were still sounding out continuously. These were caused by some of the cultivators using explosion talismans. A rich spiritual qi was coming out from some of the holes that had been dug out. As Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual sense, he immediately understood what was going on. This place turned out to be a huge spirit stone mine, moreover the grade of it was not low. Ning Cheng could see many cultivators putting away large amounts of medium-grade spirit stones, and even high-grade spirit stones into their storage bags. In some of the higher-grade spirit stones in the mine, many of the cultivators were already fighting each other. Almost every moment there were cultivators who were seriously injured and trying to escape, while there were also cultivators who were killed because they were fighting for the spirit stones. In this place, at this time, almost all the people were going crazy, desperately trying to compete for the spirit stone mine. Ning Cheng swept out, but did not find anyone from the Hua continent. It seems that he could only work alone. Who did not want spirit stones? One of the most important resources for a cultivator's cultivation was spirit stones. Best quality spirit stone. A crazy voice sounded out, as Ning Cheng's gaze also fell in that direction. An early-stage essence-building cultivator was holding a spirit stone that was exuding a soft milky white luster. This spiritual qi was something that Ning Cheng's spiritual sense could not help but feel extremely comfortable. Was this a best-quality spirit stone? If one used a best-quality spirit stone for cultivation, then, Ning Cheng did not dare to imagine it, but he also did not have to imagine it, as the terrible scene that erupted in front of him made him speechless. That essence-building cultivator did not think that he would be able to dig out a best-quality spirit stone, but before he could even put the spirit stone into his storage bag, countless cultivators had already swarmed towards it. All of the people seemed to have lost control of their reason, as all of them were scrambling for that best-quality spirit stone. Ning Cheng subconsciously retreated a few hundred meters away. This kind of terrible fight, if he was the one facing it, then even if he wanted to escape, it would be very difficult for him to escape. Blood sprayed everywhere, the lights of the magical techniques wreaked havoc. This was simply too crazy. As for the essence-building cultivator who had obtained the best quality spirit stone, he had already been submerged in the countless people scrambling for it. Ning Cheng was walking on one side. He wanted to try and see if he could also sense the presence of a spirit stone mine. However, Ning Cheng had already changed several places, but he was not able to sense any kind of mine. It seems that his mysterious yellow origin could only resonate with the origin aura. As for spirit stones or spiritual grasses and the like, it did not have any special intuition. At this time, the fight for the best quality spirit stone had already ended, and no one knew who had snatched away the best quality spirit stone. Many of the cultivators once again began to look for their own mine. Ning Cheng, in a slightly more remote place, found a location. He did not choose this place for no reason at all. It was because the vegetation in the vicinity was denser, and seemed to be growing better. Ning Cheng's idea was very simple. In a place with a spirit stone mine, the growth of plants or spiritual grasses would certainly be better. Even if he found the wrong place, it would not have much of an impact on him. This place was a mine. Even if he casually looked for a place, perhaps he would be able to dig out a spirit stone. It was just that the quality of the spirit stone was somewhat high and low. There were simply too many people digging in the mine, so it was not unusual for Ning Cheng to dig in the mine, but what was unusual was that he was digging by himself. Seeing Ning Cheng digging by himself, many of the people secretly ridiculed Ning Cheng as an idiot. Who would dare to dig a mine in this place? After a few hours, Ning Cheng could feel that the spiritual qi in the mine was getting denser and denser, so he increased his speed. Sure enough, after the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng dug out a few spirit stones, although they were only low-grade spirit stones, but for Ning Cheng, it was already very good. Thinking back to when he had just arrived at the Tsangqin province, Ji Luofei had to go all out just to obtain a chi-gathering stone, but now that he was unexpectedly able to dig out a few spirit stones by himself, what else could he not be satisfied with? Ning Qing believed that as long as he continued to dig, perhaps he would be able to find some medium-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng's idea was good, but in this place, only having an idea was obviously not enough. The people who dug in here were in groups of 3 to 5, even if that was the case, it would still lead to a fight, not to mention that Ning Cheng was the only one mining here. Before Ning Cheng did not dig out anything, naturally no one would come to find trouble with him, but now that Ning Cheng had dug out a few spirit stones, people immediately came over. This time, 6 people came over, all of them were late-stage true condensation cultivators, the worst among them was at true condensation 7th level. The essence-building cultivators here had already found their own mine, as such there were no other essence-building cultivators who came to snatch Ning Cheng's territory. Take the spirit stones that you have dug out and leave, we will take over from here. The one leading them was a true condensation 9th level cultivator. As he glanced at the mine that Ning Cheng had dug out, his eyes flashed with a trace of joy, but his mouth spoke as if nothing had happened. With his experience, he knew that this mine that Ning Cheng had dug out definitely had some good things. Chapter 132. Are you sure? Ning Cheng stopped digging, as he stared back at these people and asked. After he had seen the situation here, he already had this kind of awareness. Even if he did not want to fight, and just peacefully mine in this place, it was absolutely impossible. Fuck off. One of the true condensation 8th level cultivators impatiently shouted out. Ning Cheng was too lazy to speak any more nonsense, as he brought out the great axe in his hands, and simultaneously swept it out horizontally. An incomparably fierce axe intent raged through the mine that he had dug. The mine's range was limited, as Ning Cheng's great axe chopped out with a strong killing intent, almost all the killing force in the surroundings of the mine was gathered towards him. The 6 late-stage true condensation cultivators did not think that Ning Cheng, who was only a true condensation 4th level cultivator, would dare to take the initiative to attack. If it was just an ordinary true condensation 4th level cultivator, and Ning Cheng took the initiative to attack, they would have already brought out their magic weapons and smashed Ning Cheng into pieces. But Ning Cheng was not an ordinary true condensation 4th level cultivator. As soon as the angry axe, the first trace, came out, the axe intent was extremely strong, so the first reaction of the 6 true condensation cultivators was to quickly avoid the sharp edge of the axe, and then think of something else. Boom, the axe shadow, with its strong axe intent, cut through the incomparably hard mine, bringing out 2 bloody mists. The 2 true condensation 7th level cultivators simply did not have enough time to avoid it, as they were bound by the killing intent of Ning Cheng's axe, and were simultaneously split into 2 halves. The rustling gravel that fell from the sky was completely crushed by the axe shadow's killing intent, as Ning Cheng was worried that the mine would collapse, and did not dare to use his full strength. The remaining 4 true condensation cultivators, because of these 2 people blocking them, were able to escape from the mine a step earlier. But Ning Cheng did not give up, he also escaped from the mine, and chased after the few late-stage true condensation cultivators, and once again chopped out with his axe. The axe intent that was filled with killing intent did not weaken even a little bit because it came out from the mine, on the contrary, because Ning Cheng used his full strength to cast the angry axe, the first trace, the killing force swept out even more violently. One of the true condensation 8th level cultivators who had fallen behind, only had enough time to bring out his own cone-shaped magical weapon to block a part of the axe shadow of Ning Cheng's axe shadow, before he was hit in the chest by the even more powerful killing intent of the axe trace, causing him to immediately spurt out a mouthful of blood, as he was sent flying upside down, crashing into a huge stone, as if he would not be able to live for long. The remaining 3 people were horrified, and no longer dared to escape, as they brought out their magical weapons to confront Ning Cheng. It was only then that everyone understood what had happened. It was very common for people to snatch the spirit stones that were dug out from the mine. Ning Qing dared to dig the mine by himself, which was already seen by many people. It was just that these people who saw Ning Qing digging the mine, all of them ridiculed Ning Qing as an idiot in their hearts. But now that 6 late-stage true condensation cultivators had come to rob Ning Cheng's mine, not only did Ning Qing kill 3 of them, they were even driven out of the mine, which immediately attracted the attention of all the people. Where did this true condensation cultivator come from? He was just a trivial true condensation 4th level cultivator. How could he be so fierce and powerful? Friend, we were in the wrong just now. We won't fight for this mine anymore. Let's stop here. The one who spoke was the same true condensation 9th level cultivator who wanted Ning Cheng to give up the mine. After he saw Ning Cheng's strength, he no longer had any thoughts of snatching Ning Cheng's mine. What's more, the 6 of them were a temporary group. Who would care about the life and death of their companions? If they really fought, they would be like a plate of loose sand, each minding their own business. Want to come, want to go, how could there be such a good thing in the world? Ning Cheng was too lazy to even answer a single word. The great axe in his hands once again filled the sky with golden axe shadows. It was still the same axe, it was still the same trace. At this time, Ning Cheng was getting more and more comfortable with using the angry axe, the first trace. He felt that if he continued to use the angry axe, the first trace, he would have a new breakthrough in his comprehension. When this true condensation 9th level cultivator saw that Ning Qing did not have even half a shred of intention to reconcile with him, and did not even say a single word, he once again started. His complexion suddenly changed, as he threw out the white steel ring in his hands, and simultaneously shouted, "Everyone, let's do it together." The other 2 people saw that Ning Qing did not have any intention to stop. They simply did not need this true condensation 9th level cultivator to remind them, and had already brought out their respective magical weapons. As the 4 true condensation cultivators fought, the surrounding killing weapons and magical weapons splashed in all directions. Many of the cultivators did not even bother to dig the ores, and immediately moved out of the way, while simultaneously watching the battle between these 4 people. There were even a few essence-building realm cultivators who were paying close attention to this battle. The killing intent of the golden axe shadows filled the sky as they collided with the various magical weapons, causing the surrounding area to explode with true essence. Boom! Ka. Although the 3 late-stage true condensation cultivators were able to block Ning Cheng's axe, but the formidable axe-type killing intent once again forced the 3 of them to retreat. This person's true essence is very vigorous. Is this the cultivation of true condensation 4th level? A purple-robed woman with a veil covering her face was standing in the distance watching the battle, while simultaneously looking at the place where the golden axe shadows intersected and spoke in a shocked voice. Standing next to her was a middle-aged man, who already had the cultivation of late-stage essence-building realm. When he heard the purple-robed woman's words, he shook his head and said, "No, his true essence is not necessarily stronger than those 3 people joining hands. But his axe intent is simply too strong. This kind of axe-type killing intent that crisscrossed the sky, is something that those 3 people were simply unable to resist, and were blasted away. This person's axe intent is so strong, I suspect that he has already comprehended the axe intent in the real Axe Valley." Ning Qing did not stop his attack just because his axe shadow did not have any effect. The killing intent of the golden axe shadows that filled the sky had not completely dissipated, as the great axe in his hands once again drew a golden axe trace in the air. Ka. This time the true condensation 9th level cultivator bore the brunt of the attack, and was directly bombarded by the golden axe shadow. His white steel ring, under the impact of the axe trace, gave out a buzzing sound. At this moment he was simply unable to take back his magical weapon. This true condensation 9th level cultivator's mind was greatly shaken. He was sure that even if the 3 of them joined hands, if they were not of one mind, they would not necessarily be a match for this true condensation 4th level cultivator in front of him. This person was simply too fierce, so he immediately turned around and fled. Ning Cheng's great axe was already somewhat insufficient. If the 3 of them once again joined hands, then he could only advance step by step, and first block them. But now this true condensation 9th level cultivator unexpectedly turned around and fled. It really was courting death. Ning Qing did not care about the other 2 people. and directly rushed forward, and blasted out a punch in the air. The axe fist turned into a fist line, and with a murderous aura, it directly bombarded the back of the true condensation 9th level cultivator. This true condensation 9th level cultivator was directly blown away by Ning Cheng's punch. He flew a few dozen meters away, before he finally fell to the ground, and twitched a few times, before he no longer made any sound. Ning Cheng did not deal with the corpse of this true condensation 9th level cultivator, rather he grabbed the golden great axe and rushed towards the other two true condensation 8th level cultivators. These two true condensation 8th level cultivators were already terrified. How could they still dare to fight against Ning Cheng, as they directly threw out their storage bags, and spoke in a trembling voice, "Senior, these are our storage bags, we beg for mercy." Ning Cheng grabbed the two storage bags, and coldly snorted, "Get lost." Yes, yes. These two true condensation 8th level cultivators did not dare to speak any more nonsense, as they quickly turned around and fled, and in an instant disappeared from this place without a trace. Ning Cheng had not been in the Yixing mainland for a long time, but he had heard that once a cultivator threw out their storage bag or storage ring, as long as it was not a deep hatred, then the other party would have to be spared. Moreover, he was not really that bloodthirsty. He knew that if he spoke too well this time, then there would only be more and more people coming after his mine. If there were no good things inside, then it would not be a good thing, but once someone dug out a good thing, then it would not be a good thing. Since the battle was over, Ning Cheng put away the few storage bags, and turned the few cultivators that he had killed into ashes, and then slowly walked towards his mine. Ning Cheng had fought against 6 late-stage true condensation cultivators, he had killed 4 of them, and had even snatched away 6 storage bags. This kind of strength was clearly seen by everyone. No one dared to have any ideas about Ning Cheng's mine. Of course, this was because Ning Cheng's mine only had low-grade spirit stones. This elder brother, I am Yang Shuhui from the Fu Continent's Yu sect. If elder brother does not mind, I am willing to help you mine. I only need 10%. A very pure and beautiful female cultivator was standing at the entrance of Ning Cheng's mine, as she spoke to Ning Cheng in a soft voice. Her tone was very pleasant to listen to, and even had a bit of sincerity to it. People who heard this voice would immediately have a good impression of her, not to mention seeing such a beautiful female cultivator. Fu Continent. Is it the one next to the advanced class continent? Ning Cheng had heard of the Fu Continent. Among the 3 intermediate class continents, the Jia continent, the Central continent and the Fu continent was the closest to the advanced class continent, the Southern continent. Ning Cheng wanted to take Luofei to the advanced class continent in the future, so when he heard about the Fu continent, he immediately asked about it. That's right, our Yu sect often has outstanding disciples selected by the Southern continent. Elder brother, which continent are you from? This beautiful female cultivator called Yang Shuhui, on hearing Ning Cheng's reply, immediately spoke up in a happy voice. I am from the Ping continent. To be honest, Yang Shuhui's eyes were very beautiful, and her words were also very soft. As such, Ning Cheng already had a good impression of her. However, his mine had already been dug. If an outsider wanted to form a partnership with him, then he would have to divide his mine, which was absolutely impossible. This Yu sect's name was somewhat similar to the Huayu Academy. Ning Cheng also knew that the Huayu Academy would definitely not be able to compare with the Yu sect. Ping continent. Yang Shuhui apparently did not respond. After a good while she spoke in a surprised voice, are you talking about the Ping continent of the 3 lower class continents? The Ping continent has someone like you. Seemingly feeling that the last sentence was somewhat impolite, Yang Shuhui awkwardly spoke, because the Ping continent is lacking in resources. Moreover, I heard that the cultivation methods are not complete, so I felt a bit strange. I hope you don't mind. Saying that, her emotions seemed to have become even more excited. This elder brother, with your ability, you can definitely join our Yu sect. My Yu sect's disciples cultivate in pairs of men and women. I think that you are very great, if you are willing to join our Yu sect. Yang Shuhui also seemed to feel a bit embarrassed. As she spoke till the end, she unexpectedly lowered her head. Ning Cheng suddenly realized, it turned out to be a dual cultivation academy. This Yang Shuhui looked pure and beautiful, but this was the first time she saw him, and she immediately began to seek a mate. Was this her true temperament? Or was the entire Yu sect rotten? So you came from a dual cultivation academy? Ning Qing subconsciously spoke out. Yang Shuhui's embarrassment had already disappeared, as she somewhat eagerly replied, yes, do you want to join the Yu sect? I'm sorry, I have no interest in a dual cultivation academy. Ning Cheng was too lazy to answer Yang Shuhui, as he quickly entered his own mine. Yang Shuhui stared blankly at Ning Cheng as he entered the mine. She completely did not understand why Ning Cheng was acting like this. In the Yu sect, it was very normal to have a dual cultivation with one's partner. The Yu sect paid particular attention to one's true temperament and not pretentious. If one liked someone, then one would pursue them, so why was the opposite party's reaction so strange? You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.